to them. You see that statement? Be not
Deceived. God is not mocked.
Because we, as the Jamaican, for a very long time, we sowed that seed of political violence. And it has morphed into extortion. It has morphed into guns for hire.
Yeah,
Do you know in some communities, they have lost control? Do you know, and this is not a joke, if in some communities, if you can give somebody $2,000, you can put a hit on somebody's life.
$2,000.
Yes.
Lord preserve us.
Yeah. I heard those figures quoted and I said, oh, really? Probably not the reality. I was interacting with somebody one day and they said somebody in the communities, because we working in a city, and says, this young man is one of the top shotters, as they call him. So he's trying to rehabilitate this young man. And they say, what he want him say, want a shoes and two pairs of pants. Because he've never had those things in his hands as an individual. And he was like, really? So you can imagine if you can give that to the young man, he'll do anything for you. But it's unfortunate. So the question is, you have a tree that has grown up, that is producing fruit. If you want to deal with the tree and the fruits, do you chop off the branches or do you go to the root and destroy it? And so one of the things that has caused this tree to grow is the whole thing of corruption. And again, a friend of mine sent an article and says, because what has happened to Lebanon in terms of corruption, you remember that big explosion at the port of Lebanon? It's corruption, So I'm saying, okay, let us not, as it were, take sleep and mark death. We got to do something. We've got to wake up as individuals and begin to do what we know we can do individually, and then allow for the princes to do what they must do, because a lot of the things that have happened in our country, the blood is on their hands. That's what it is, really. What say you to that?
I'm in complete agreement with you, Percival. And of course, you have touched the vein of this morning's discussion. So let me see. Yes, we can talk about it fully. Well, you know that there were two pieces of legislation which we committed to reviewing on air and then presenting written submissions to the relevant ministry. Well, it looked like it might be the new ministry now, but wherever it goes, it will go to the right place. I've completed the Integrity Commission Act, and now I want to do the Whistleblowing or Protected Disclosures Act, which is the law that has been put in place to protect disclosures made by persons who have knowledge of illegality or improper conduct, whether it be in the private sector or in the public sector, but information or conduct in which the public would have an interest. Naturally, any kind of corrupt practice is a matter of public interest, whether it relates to financial malfeasance or administrative irregularities, which can have an effect of destabilizing the administration of the public's business. Truthfully, most improper conduct in the corporate setting ultimately has a spillover into the public domain, whether it relates to avoidance or evasion of taxes, systems that are set up to avoid compliance with matters that are the subject of regulation, or just in terms of the treatment of labor, of workers. That is a matter of great public interest because the business of employment and the safety of workers and the observance of fundamental rights and freedoms in the workplace, that is a matter of great public interest. So this morning and perhaps certainly into tomorrow, well, for as long as it takes, we're going to be talking about the whistleblower legislation that Jamaica passed, or act was passed in 2011. Not much has been heard about it. We are looking to amend it before we actually used it fully. And I think public education on it is a critical part of enabling persons to understand what it means as a tool against in the fight against corruption. You mentioned the word corruption. I don't remember why. Why did you talk about corruption a while ago?
I said it's part of the root of
Of
what
course.
one of the things, the root that we need to get
right.
rid of. Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that this morning. There are some international best practices that we seem to have paid scant regard to in the development of our legislation. And when I look at the draft, I see such weaknesses in it that I think we need to start with a general discussion on what whistleblowing legislation is meant to deliver, and then we can take a look at what we have and consider what amendments are necessary to give effect to it. But whistleblowing or protected disclosure legislation is a massive tool in the fight against corruption.
Mm-hmm.
It is
Something that is a very powerful tool, and you whistleblow, and then you have to careful for your life.
You have to swallow the whistle. Yeah, so we're going to talk about that because while it says protected disclosure, it talks a lot about the disclosure, but not much about the protection, and it's all about the protection. For you to encourage persons to speak freely, to speak their truth, live their truth, you have to be able to protect them from or offer some protection. Let's say you're not able to do 100%. But the structure ought to be there that will encourage persons to use it. So we'll talk about that. On the cards also, as we look forward to how we celebrate the Africans in our midst. Yeah, Black History Month. We know what the themes are, and you will see a lot of it being reflected. Pastor Percival brought a very ancient and large tome into the studio. I wish you could see it because it does look like a family heirloom.
No,
you can tell us what it is.
It is.
Oh, you mean it is looking distressed, but it's really not supposed to?
No, it's not. It's not. No. It was given to me when in 1990. It's 26 years old actually.
Older than all your children.
Yes, it's older than all of my children. When I worked my last job before I moved into ministry full time, the crew there gave it to me as a gift. It's the original African Heritage Study Bible. And what is highlighted in it is the impact of Africans in terms of what has happened around the world, and a lot of pictures and so on, and tying in thing. And a lot of research went into it in terms of highlighting the impact of Africa in terms of what we call the Bible.
How are you proposing to use it in the coming?
Because what I'm going to be doing is just highlighting the impact from the Old Testament and New Testament of Africans in terms of what has happened in the Bible and their impact in terms of changing it. Because one of the persons who they pressured to carry the cross for Jesus was an African.
That's Simon?
Yeah, Simon of Cyrene, African man. Yeah. So just that kind of impact.
Pressured.
He was pressured to help carry it. So there's a major impact in regards to it. And it is now strongly believed by a lot of people that the birth of of civilization really is out of Africa. That is why a black woman can
bear any color child.
Any color child.
I just thought that's a trick we got from God.
A trick? Yeah, but it's interesting. Yeah, in terms of the gene, the DNA, and so on. Yeah, so it's gonna be an interesting time start with whistleblowing corruption, because whistleblowing is about identifying corruption and speaking about it and so on. And we spoke about the
Integrity Commission Act,
which I call, it should be renamed when they do it, the Anti-Corruption Act, and we get teeth and so on to prosecute people instead of going to the DPP, and to comment on the fact that according to the DPP, Floyd Green and all the people are there in the lockdown. No movement, lockdown day, there's no charge that can be brought. What about Nzinga?
Hers is coming up.
What about Nzinga?
When you see them producing even on the weekend.
What about Nzinga? And that was in June, July last year, about that time. Come on. No, man, we have to do better than that. Would you call that corruption?
Well, no, listen, and this is an odd one. This is not corruption as much as it is manipulation
of the system.
Yes, which can be corruption when you dig into it to a certain level. So, as you know, my view on it, from it became public knowledge that the information that could allow, namely the video recorded information concerning what was going on at that location, that it was unavailable. And it was unavailable because the police made a request, but not in proper form. And by the time the request in proper form was received, the information had been written over, or, they had a recording over that information on the security system. In an honest world, the moment the police gave notice that they had an interest in the recording, someone would have pulled it and kept it secure until the request came in proper order. Like when the police said, "Don't leave town." Well, they do that in the movies.
Don't leave town.
Yeah, they said don't leave town until you're not under arrest. There's no warrant or anything. But as a courtesy, as a law-abiding citizen who wants to participate in the administration of justice, you respect a caution like that. So, if let's imagine a society where there is trust and there is respect of a certain order. Mm-hmm. Whomever is advising the hotel, if my hotel client called me and said, something happened here that we have a, our cameras would have picked it up, I would have said to them, sequester the cameras for obvious reasons. One, the hotel might end up being charged with something, and you want the truth to be a part of your defense. Mm-hmm. Secondly, you don't want for there to be any interference with the recorded material that might later implicate you in some other thing. So, for example, do you see what has happened? The DPP, having dealt with the substantive issue, said what remains is for you to look at the hotel. The hotel is the likely victim. You sent it to me. I've not read it because, like you, I was going with the be not deceived. God is not mocked. Let us not contrive to have all these things end up in a particular way, and then we write lengthy decisions concerning it when it could have been so much simpler if persons had behaved in a respectful and trustworthy way. Meaning, as I said, something happened. It happened at a location. Stop. You have security cameras. Just hold it. Hold it so that the truth. Or
copy to another place.
So that the truth can come out. So yes, we know the police can't use it in a certain way unless certain evidentiary rules are observed. One of the evidentiary rule is the chain of custody. Mm-hmm. What happened to the thing from the moment right until the time the police have it? And the best thing would have been to secure the information, lock it away. When you get the request in proper form, here we are. As it is, when the request came in proper form, it's like, gotcha.
We don't have it anymore.
We don't have it anymore. It's been recorded over. And then, so I lost interest in it. The day that information became public knowledge,
We
I
know it
said,
was where
this is
we
going,
know where it was
we
going.
knew where it was going. Because sure enough, everything in, and the rule of law is very stern on this. You need evidence. You need evidence. You need evidence. There's nothing in what was on the video to say the people weren't all staying there, had their rooms on the property. Nothing to say. And except for persons who know family relations and whatever, they were a group. When I'm with my family, I'm not wearing a mask. When I'm with people that I'm close to, I don't wear a mask. I don't need to. If whatever they have, I already have it.
Die.
That's the, I mean, you know. So
Yeah.
there, nothing in the circumstances could allow you. About all you had was, does it look good? It didn't look good. So the man resigned, and now it looks like,
And
as
get
they
big
say,
posts.
he has the last laugh. Well, obviously they knew where it was going because they promoted him.
Yeah, because and you know, gentle people in Jamaica, all of our princes, everybody, we have a major trust deficit in our country. Let's wake up to that reality, you know. It is across all sectors of the society. I don't trust you. So I'm gonna do everything to secure me.
And it would seem like with good reason.
Yeah. So we just gotta change that.
So that takes us to the Protected Disclosure Legislation.
Yeah.
Act number 3 of 2011. Signed into effect on the 8th of March 2011 by the Governor General. This is what the act is. An act to encourage and facilitate the making by employees of specified disclosures of improper conduct in the public interest, to regulate the receiving, investigating, or otherwise dealing with disclosures of improper conduct, to protect employees who make specified disclosures from being subjected to occupational detriment, and for related matters. So that act took effect on the 8th of March 2011. It has been in our armory for the fight against corruption since all those many years. Yet, if it has been used at all, I think, what was it used for? I remember something recently which they said the report came out of a whistleblowing activity. But let's say that it has not been given as much exposure or action in the field as it deserves, because we know that the things which happen, some of the very notorious acts of corruption, there must be a whole network of people with critical knowledge on the how, who, when, and
Who, what, when,
the
where.
dates.
Who, what, when, where.
Yes. We know there must be, because I would say none of the persons who were in the limelight would have actually pulled the trigger.
Nobody.
Yeah.
That's what
So
normally happens.
yet we are not seeing a rash of arrests or investigations or even convictions arising out of these notorious events. So what of the whistleblowing legislation? Why isn't it being used? What is the effectiveness of it? Very relevant. And it's not just relevant for a legal discussion. I think the discussion first needs to take place at a social level. Just in the general population, general society needs to consider, what is this legislation meant to deliver? As a matter of policy, does it work? Can it work in the environment? And what does it take for it to work? I started to look at our legislation, and I can tell you, by the time I had got to section 4 of it, and let me tell you what section, actually, I didn't even get to section 4. I looked at the meaning of employee, because you would notice in the preamble that it says it protects disclosure by employees. So I'm like, what if I am a stranger who happen to know certain things? I am not protected? Employee, however, is given an artificial legal meaning. It covers persons who has worked for another person and received or is entitled to receive any remuneration for work done. So it covers paid employment. Any person who in any manner assists or has assisted in the carrying on or conduct of the business of an employer without any entitlement to receive remuneration or reward. So you can be a volunteer, but you must have some relationship to the business. And there are some people who have no relationship, neither as consumer or employee or volunteer. There's a category of persons who are not captured here, and that was a concern for me. It covers contractors, person who is engaged or contracted under a contract for services to do work for another person or any agent of the person. And then it defines employer, but we're less concerned about employer. We are more concerned about the person who makes the disclosure, because the whole purpose of a legislation of this nature is to encourage disclosures and to offer protection and a reliable system for the receipt, the investigation, the treatment of those disclosures. That's why it named Protected Disclosure Act. It's in the name.
What's in the name?
All right, it's time to take a break. So already you have seen in the Act that it is very limited in the category of persons who can make disclosures. So if you've been watching something as a just, bystander citizen A, and you have noticed certain things or you overhear certain things and you realize something improper is happening, this act don't cover you, and that has to change. So that's kind of like the First Amendment.
No, it doesn't.
You're on your own. So let's take the break, and then you and I can chew that over. Okay.
We'll be right back.
The National Environment and Planning Agency presents NEPA and You, a 5-minute radio series on issues that affect you. Find out how NEPA plays an important role in your everyday life.
This COVID thing have me away. Me never know some would have miss outside so. But one thing, the place hot so till. This climate change thing I get really serious.
Which climate change thing you are talking about? Me don't believe in them thing there, Climate change not real. And that me I say.
You go on, man. Me know who I go convince you. Meet me at Dan shop tomorrow. Hey, Dan. What's up? I need some information. May I talk to this girl about climate change and the ozone layer? And she don't want to listen to me.
What you say? I pity she no know. Come let me take you on a journey. Hold on the fellas. The old man have some work to do. Jamaica started doing work to protect the ozone from back in 1993 when we became a party to the Montreal Protocol.
How about that?
Alright, so the Montreal Protocol is an international treaty where one whole heap of country join. It was created to help countries protect the ozone because some substances what we call ozone depleting substances are destroying the ozone layer. So they might try to phase them out.
Oh, okay. But me understand. But what the ozone layer do?
It protects you from harmful ultraviolet rays that are coming from the sun. Selaskia come there. Him can't tell you no more about this. Him usually working at the National Ozone Unit. They created that unit in 1997, about 4 years before NEPA emerged. Them are part of NEPA now.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
A good thing you come down here because these ladies want to talk about climate change and the ozone layer. And I tell them say the best person to talk to are you because you did work with the NOU.
But you work in the refrigeration sector, so you're supposed to know. Aye, sir. The good old days. We miss the place, you see. Come in there and take in little learning. The National Ozone Unit was established to facilitate the phase-out of chlorofluorocarbons, also known as CFCs, and other ozone-depleting substances, aka ODS, in Jamaica. From as early as 2002, though, the NOU enabled Jamaica to phase out some firefighting chemicals that damage the ozone. In 2006, we completely phase out CFCs like 4 years ahead of the January 1, 2010 deadline.
Let me jump in there. In 2007, Jamaica received the Montreal Protocol Exemplary Project Recognition Award for a job well done in previous years. May I remember 2013 to 2017 when the United Nations Development Programme UNDP gave them funding for refrigeration best management practices train the trainers workshops. In 2016, them and UNDP helped Jamaica completely phase out the use of ODS used in the foam industry.
I never know that.
Me say, them are going with things down the boy.
So it seems, yes, me as a old boy glad say me did work with them.
Then Lasky, no the other day in about 2018-2019 they saw them complete the implementing enabling activities for the ratification of the Kigali Amendment Project.
Yes, for true.
Our name
Kigali Amendment. The Kigali Amendment is an amendment to the Montreal Protocol to reduce the use of hydrofluorocarbons, also known as HFCs, the alternatives to the HCFCs as refrigerants. The HFCs are not ozone-depleting substances, but they contribute significantly to global warming.
Oh!
And you see, the NOU is going on pretty well, if you ask me. And in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, them helped to produce the final version of the Jamaica National Cooling Strategy. This them do in collaboration with the Kigali Cooling Efficiency Project, KCEP, jointly implemented with the United for Efficiency, U4E.
As you not talk about COVID, you not take on a vaccine yet. You know, me already the 6 feet apart, you know, but make me distance myself some more.
You're going in done. Anyways, youngins, me I go do some work, you hear? Sooner or later.
Alright, Mas Lasky and Mas Dan. See you later.
For more information on this or any other NEPA and You feature, contact the National Environment and Planning Agency at 876-754-7540 or email us at pubed@nepa.gov.jm. A production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station.
Moving.
My station.
Moving. Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Best FM. Keep listening.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-Time Taxi Service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
From anywhere at all. You can call us on 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
Live the life. Respect the music. And keep your radio locked in.
The best 100 FM.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100
Wagwan.
FM.
Guten Tag. Buongiorno.
We are
The Kingstones.
I think I love you best FM because you're better than the rest of them. It's so amazing how I love you best FM because you're better than the rest of them.
Hey, my listening crew. This is your late afternoon companion Tashikalu on your 100 FM dial. Make sure you tune in and turn up every Tuesdays from 5 until 7 p.m. for OTAWTL. That is on the ear with me, yours truly, a program that will leave you inspired, entertained, and informed. With credit giveaways each week. Street Link, where we go in the streets to find out from the people what is hot and what is not, and so much more. And guess what? You can now voice your birthday shout-outs on our WhatsApp line at 876-438-9442, and we'll play them live on air. So what are you waiting for? Turn up Tuesdays from 5 to 7 p.m. right here on Best 100 FM, the station that is sizzling every day.
Vejan Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Vejan Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
To be true. Good morning and welcome back to the Morning Connection. We are starting our discussion on the Whistleblowing Act, Protected Disclosure Act, and Pastor Percival made a very provocative comment at the end of the last section, and he's going to address it in full, just so we can all be on the same page of righteousness.
That people, when I said informer for dead, there's a culture that says that if you see something happening in your community or in any place, you must keep your mouth shut. The same adage that says, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. Remember, we see that with the
three blind monkeys.
Yeah. And I'm saying the whole thing was that this act is supposed to defeat that culture, destroy that
Yes.
culture. But
Yeah.
you are saying, based on what you are seeing, that's not don't seem to be the intention. So can you, my learned friend, help me, please?
I love it. Help me, please.
Mm-hmm.
How can I resist? All right. So I decided when I looked at what we have to just entertain a discussion generally on what whistleblowing protection means in a larger scale in the society, what it is meant to deliver. And I read out the objects of our own legislation, which is one, to establish a procedure, a system for receiving and investigating information on improper conduct, and two, to create a duty and to encourage those who have certain information to share the information on the basis that those disclosures would be protected. You are so right in what has been a celebrated part of our culture, namely, informer is an act of betrayal against community and self, which is because of the two Jamaica, or on the weekend somebody wrote that there are several Jamaicas. But this this fracturing of our society into us and them based on many different points of division has led to a kind of perversion of the concept of trust. So now, if you must find a group and you must be loyal to that group, and if you speak against the interest of that group, you are an informer, not a responsible citizen who is trying to bring good health to the society, the body politic. You are a betrayer, a disloyal person. The community should shun you, and the highest level of punishment can be meted out to you. Your house burned down, your house get shut up, and ultimately sometimes people pay with their lives for making certain disclosures. So when we talk about whistleblowing, really, it cannot be limited to just what happens between employer-employee on the shop floor or in a public body where, government funds are being administered and so on. We really have to address the culture, and we have to look at the wider social implications of it in terms of how people live and move in their communities. So that piece of legislation goes hard up against an accepted way of life, which persons have gone along with for their own protection, their own security, the security of their families. It's very difficult for you to, as a citizen, to separate your mindset into, well, if it affects the community in which I live, I must keep my mouth shut. But if it is happening on the job floor, I have a duty to speak. I don't think it works like that. That type of schizophrenia requires medication and would render you unemployable. So if we are going to challenge such a long-standing aspect of our culture, we got to come good. and we have to address it, I think, in a proper way. This legislation, in my view, does not. And in fact, there are aspects of it which seem to perpetuate the culture that we're trying to eradicate. So, for example, it is narrowly confined to disclosures by employees, and though employee has been given an artificial meaning to include volunteer and persons who don't get pay, still you must be able to establish some nexus, some relationship to the business or the activities about which you are making the disclosure. I think that is too narrow given the broader implications for it. And let me give you a practical example. We had a caller who said there are some trucks rumbling in the mining area that are owned by politicians. Now, that man who said it, let us say he has direct knowledge of it. He's not an employee of any of the politicians. He's not an employee of the bauxite company, which is 51% owned by the government of Jamaica. No. He's just a citizen who may have overheard something, may have seen a document. Maybe he works in the tax office and saw the registration of certain documents, or he saw certain persons come in. I'm just giving you a hypothetical. I really have no knowledge of the circumstances of that particular caller who said, this is what is happening. Such a person obviously has information that could spark an investigation that brings to the fore all kinds of improper conduct on the part of leaders who are administering public funds and the princes of the land. He would not be covered by the definition of employee. And I think that obviously is one of the things that need to change.
So it's up to Minette, as we reflect on it, this piece of legislation really is supposed to help in terms of the destruction of corruption in our society.
Yes, it is a major tool in other places. That is its sole purpose. Sole purpose. You know, it says improper conduct. It's not necessarily even about illegal conduct. Improper conduct, because corruption starts small with innocuous things that you have to link together to see a pattern. Absolutely. And sometimes what one individual knows is just the tip of the iceberg, but it can set in motion an inquiry. Section 5 of the Act says, this is the section I said supports what you're saying. Section 5 of the Act says, a disclosure shall not qualify for protection under this Act unless it is made in good faith and in the public interest. Okay. Now, what is everything to me is wrong with that provision. The first thing is, this Act is meant to encourage, and it is meant to offer protection. So if I were drafting this, I would have turned it around. I would say all disclosures made in good faith or in protection of the public interest are protected. The first thing is, if you are going to investigate the complaint before you determine whether it can be protected, you have exposed the complainant.
Yeah, which is what happens in a lot of communities.
That's why persons who suffer rape don't report it, because the first person they investigate is the complainant, and you're subjected to all kinds of traumatic questions and probings before it can rise to the standard. There is a way you have to treat a disclosure that comes to you. The protection must be presumed
to be in the best interest,
unless for some reason that emerges later on
that you were trying to destroy somebody's reputation.
But here's why the good faith thing. I'm going to give you some of the best practices from the international stage. And one of them is that all disclosures must be protected. First off, there should be nothing that would cause a person to say, boy, me not going to tell them what me know because them all turn upon me and then it's going to become a whole different thing. So first thing is all disclosures must be protected. Let's talk about good faith. In other places, it says that the complainant must reasonably believe the truthfulness or the accuracy of the information. That is the standard. You must believe it is true. I mean, if you think it's guesting or a whatever, and you're being malicious. If you don't believe it and you report it, you're being malicious.
Right.
That is the good faith. That is how it's dealt with in other places. It is not treated as an attack on the person making the complaint. It is presumed that the disclosure is given protection, and then as you investigate it, you can see whether it is frivolous or malicious, maybe. But the truth is, malice is irrelevant if the information is true. For example, most persons who are in possession of damaging information have that quality information because they're a part of the improper conduct. Let's say you and I have been in a conspiracy to do something improper.
So we have
and you cheat me.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, you know what? I'm turning in Pastor Percy.
Mm-hmm.
My good faith is irrelevant.
Just have to follow it up. Yeah. Yeah, that is such an important point, the whole thing of good faith. So I mean you in some improper deal.
Yes.
Like I remember related to what had happened at a previous workplace.
Yes.
When the gentleman said to me, boss, you don't get your cut. He was upset because it got on, I'm not get something, so
he's thinking the two of you might have a common cause.
Yeah, so he whistleblowed on the person. And it created
there you
ripple
go.
Effect.
Most times, Percival, that is how it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Where persons who have knowledge because they were right there on the front line and not innocently, they decide that, I didn't get my fair share or I've had enough or whatever maybe they call change of mind. Right. It should only be of concern that the information is true. That's all. Whether they are doing it out of malice or revenge is irrelevant. Okay, so that's where we are. Let me talk about a few of the best practices that I've seen in my study of the issue. The first thing is to recognize that the legislation is meant to protect freedom of speech.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing. So you
it's
must
constitutional.
Absolutely,
Right,
it is a fundamental constitutional right. So when you have knowledge of the truth of a situation, you should be free to speak it without risk of harm. So it is closely aligned to the constitutional rights, freedom of expression. The other side of it is, of course, the anti-corruption part.
Mm-hmm.
If your truth would bring some relief to one of the very severe maladies that afflict modern societies, then by all means, let us create a structure that would reward you and protect you when you speak your truth. We're going to talk about reward. Most jurisdictions include reward because you want to encourage persons. Absolutely. The reward usually comes from participating in the fines that are collected or the money that is saved.
Okay.
So, for example, if I blow the whistle on a scheme that would have cost the government $10 million, then I can get 20% of that saving, for example. Or if I blow the whistle on a scheme that leads to 100 persons being brought before the court and successfully prosecuted and they each pay a fine of $1 million, I can get a percentage of the fine.
That's how it works in some
jurisdictions. In some jurisdictions. And it's necessary because you cannot always prevent retaliation against the whistleblower. The whistleblower get the informer for dead treatment in the workplace too.
Yeah.
Because when you turn in your colleagues and those that survive have it in for you. So some of them may be fired because of the information you disclose, but they may have friends
and
family.
In
a small society.
The headline that you saw Sunday, murder for hire.
Yes, and in a small society, then you understand it's very hard to maintain anonymity, and sometimes the person will need that money to shift, to take another job or start a business or whatever. So the reward is critical. It's not that you're selling information. It is that oftentimes just your act of speaking the truth will expose you to changes that require additional capital. So let's talk about some of the best practices. I have like 5 minutes. International best practices for whistleblowers. Let me see. Of course, a main objective of the Act, beside the anti-corruption pieces and to facilitate freedom of expression, some of us are greatly burdened when we see things happening and we cannot speak freely. It's called the conscience at work. It's a burden for some of us. And some who speak freely are penalized in many ways, unconventional ways, both by the society and by the work, their colleagues at work. You know, you're the one talking up all the
Emotional.
time, or you think. So there is a general, there's a general attitude in the society that pushes against persons
Keep your mouth
who
shut.
speak truth.
Keep your mouth shut.
Yes, if everybody's going along with it, they want you to just play along. And those of us who speak up, like I'm someone who speak up all the time. So I know you're not liked. You're not
get
well
pushback,
liked for that.
pushback.
You get pushback. So this legislation is meant to create that shift in culture, to encourage, to facilitate, to make it easier and to make it more acceptable for persons to speak the truth. Obviously, if you're telling people to speak the truth, you need to make it attractive. So it is to insulate persons from retaliation and punitive treatment in their careers or risks to their personal safety, which, as you say, the Guns for Hire story in the paper makes something like a whistleblower legislation in Jamaica very risky.
But just as you talk about whistleblowers, what is emerging in the States and in other countries because of the censorship with what is happening with COVID, a lot of people are coming forward now and saying, but this is what I see happen. So a lot of whistleblowing, and those people are targeted because I just read an article where they actually took away this lady's license. She's a veteran internist, and she pointed out what was happening, and they punish her.
So you see, there are all kinds of unconventional ways that you can be punished. You know, they call up a friend
misinformation.
somewhere else, and before you know it, you're under some lockdown in your career. So you have to be. It requires great boldness
And courage.
to step into this space. One of the main risks in other, of course, it is greatly studied elsewhere. A main risk, of course, is that the protection turns out to be a cardboard shield. The law will say that you are not to be subjected to any kind of retaliation in your career or loss of promotion or loss of benefits and so on. It just says it. But in the
doesn't do
final
anything.
analysis, when you go into the field to see how does it really work, it has been found that most people, their careers die
Because of it.
after they do a thing like that. It's a professional death for most complainants. So how do you seek to contain the risks? The first thing is the scope of the coverage must be sufficiently wide to cover every witness regardless of context or relationship. There should be no loopholes to that. So our very narrow meaning of employee would not cut it on the world stage. You have to capture everybody. Everyone who has information must feel that it is open for them to make a relevant disclosure. So the scope of the coverage of the protection must be wide. There should be no loopholes. The only standard that I see emerging is that the complainant, the person making the disclosure, must have a genuine and honest belief in the truth of the information. And you can ascertain that with just the first 3, 4, or 5 questions. You can find out, do you believe it to be true? Have you seen enough to believe that it is true? So you have to set up a system for taking the information that allows you to make that assessment. Some people use hotlines or and have.
Because even the Crime Stop is a whistleblower in itself.
It is, it is.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Crime Stop is a whistleblower.
It is the first level of whistleblowing. Okay. The second is that you must embrace free speech. The legislation must be such that it covers any disclosure of illegality. any disclosure. So persons must be free to say, you know, I saw so and so. It's better you take 1,000 full complaints and than you set the standard so high that person say, oh, me can't bother because they're going to ask me and they're going to want to know and they're going to dig into my business and I have to be pure of hands and heart before I can make a complaint. No, you must take complaint from criminal too. There should be nothing that stops a person from speaking freely what they have seen.
Which is what has happened with Clansman. Somebody turned a whistleblower up and
Yes.
And he's been put in. So when somebody becomes a
crown witness,
is whistleblowing they're doing?
Yes, in a manner of speaking. But once you enter the
witness protection.
No, not witness protection. Once you're getting into criminal litigation, there are some other rules that apply.
Okay.
Because not everybody who whistleblow will rise to that level. Mm-hmm. You might not qualify to be a crown witness.
Okay.
And there may be many whistleblowers who all that has happened for them is they gave important information that set things in motion, but they are not sufficiently close to the actual events to feature in the case. And if that's who you are as you are listening to this, think about it. You're the perfect whistleblower because you can be completely anonymous.
Okay.
The ones who have to step up and say, boy, you know, I was the trigger man or the driver or so on or the accountant and you get caught in
when
it.
you watch a show, that's normally the accountant who has to run. Yes.
I got the brake signal. All right. We'll continue after the break. Please stay with us.
We'll be right back.
Looking to clean your vehicle super clean? 123 Clean Car Wash, located at 2 1/4 Osborne Road, Kingston 10. Entrance on Grove Road, below Tropical Battery. They wash and vacuum, undercarriage wash, engine wash, polish and compound, shampoo and detailing. Call them at 876-631-3400. 123 Clean Car Wash, the best in the business for a cleaner wash.
3, believe me, it's so easy. 1, 2, 3.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-382-528 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales for a better choice.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station.
Moving.
My station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Bass FM. Keep listening.
Yeah. Never going around congregation. Why? Kemisha a burn pagan, so Kemisha will never go, the pagans go. Big up yourself, Kemisha. This is Warrior King and must be in tune to the number one station, Best FM 100.1, 100.9. You know it's all about the reset with Kemisha, Thursdays 2 to 5 p.m. So keep it locked on Best FM. Yeah, this is Warrior King, the Black Emperor Roots Warrior.
Veg Print is for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Veg Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Good morning again, and thank you for sticking around to hear the rest of this very interesting. I ran an example during the break that I would not repeat on air because I love Percival too much. But sometimes you see something, you saw it with your own eyes, and you may be hesitant to say, I saw so and so, because you become fearful of the blowback and so those fears are not unrealistic, but free speech requires that we can truthfully say what our experience is, what we saw. All right, so where did I get to?
Free speech.
Free speech. Oh yes, it should cover disclosure of any illegality or improper conduct. And then the next, these are just best practices that have sort of risen to the top in the decades since whistleblowing has been legitimized, signaling the death of the informer for dead culture. Well, Jamaica's culture still holding on with great vigor. The next principle that we see coming out of the cumulative experience is that there should be a right, every citizen should have a right to refuse the violation of a law. Meaning, if you are told to do something that you know is unlawful or improper, you should have the complete freedom to refuse to do it. And it is by blowing the whistle on that kind of order or command or instruction that you can get substantial relief. In other words, your boss tell you, you've done up your accounting for the tax reports, and your boss say, why it's so high this month? And you say, because we did so and so. And your boss said to you, no, and do this or do that. And what he tells you, you know is plainly wrong. You know it's wrong.
But you know, some people, I have interacted with a lot of civil servants, and they say, like the boss call them and tell them must do something, and they says, you know, sir, just put it in writing. That might be clear as to what you're saying, and it dies there. Yeah. It dies there. And I'm saying these people are become wise, you know, because you at the end of it, most times when you see a lot of things happening in terms of corruption, it's somebody who never understand the system, because they normally use a junior person to do the work, but the people have been around and have seen say, I'm not clear in terms of the instructions, sir. Can you just put it in writing for me, please?
Yes.
That's
but
there.
Can I tell you? And I've advised many persons to do that as a kind of one deflection. But let's just look at it from another level. The very fact that such an instruction was given is something that you can blow the whistle on. If we are serious about shifting that culture away from a certain type of behaviors, when you get those instructions, that is something that you can complain about, because guess what? If him not get you for do it, him going to ask somebody else. And chances are there are any number of persons who will do it. And this is what we're talking about now. When you develop the legislation and you're teaching people about it, it's not enough to say, well, the law is there, you can download it from my website. You have to go deeper to create the structures and the culture, because you're trying to change behaviors. You're trying to change behaviors. So the environment and the laws of the country should make it acceptable and easier for persons to obey the law by resisting any instruction or commands that would have them break the law. So your legislation has to cover that. Then come to the crux of it, the matter because it named protected disclosures legislation. There must be protection against spillover retaliation. And the kind of protection, of course, our law says all the necessary things about, forbidding demotions or denial of promotion, and there should be no impact. So we have the usual language. But as I've said before, most jurisdictions have found that it's a cardboard shield because it does not really, it doesn't deliver what it promises. And then it must also protect all citizens who make disclosure. So if you are just a stranger, a busybody, a lady who stand up by the gate and count cars, and then you notice that something is going on, It doesn't matter who you are. Every citizen should be protected by the legislation. Our legislation does not do that, as I already pointed out. Any disclosure that is relevant to the public interest or the mission of the company or public trust. Citizens should have eagle eyes looking out for the proper observance of the covenant. We know, which means we have to know what are the standards, what it is that people should be doing, and anything that you see running, it doesn't matter how small, get in the habit of noting it and making the necessary reports. That's how you really change the culture, when everybody is on board, not just some. And I'm at number 6. There has to be reliable confidentiality protection.
That's so crucial.
What do I mean by that? Typically, like in our act, it says, for you to make a complaint, you must meet some standards in the form, and the form that they give you require like your age, your date, your weight, your blood type. There's no doubt that is you. The truth of the matter is the world is moving towards anonymity. It should not be that somebody could pick up a file and say, oh, is that Chatterbox Minute Palmer? Oh, Lawrence. Well, clearly, if I'm making the complaint, I would use my maiden name to hide from it. But it should not be that the information is accessible at a certain level, and it should not be that those who are handling the information can intuit who is the source of it. So yes, the confidentiality protection must be reliable, and there are many ways to do it. There's a company that has a software that you can interact with the software to file your reports, and then I'm sure it gives you code names, and then it disseminates it to different persons who have access to it, but you're only known as citizen 1 or 2, and nobody really knows who you are until it gets to the level where someone has to interact with you, perhaps to give you your reward. Or, but you see what I'm saying. We need to invest in the technology.
Some of the
absolutely, yes. Right, because we do it, I think, for Crime Stop. And then number 7, we have to ban all unconventional harassment. No, we have to be imaginative in this regard. A lot of the known retaliation comes in the workplace environment. You're blocked out of certain things or whatever. But it can be that they happen to know that you own a taxi, that you have a private business, and then you find that the license is pulled, or your sister needs something, and that is the ways of harassment can be extreme.
Yeah,
and
they do it
now
like,
anyway.
Like even in terms of out of the article, and so
yes,
they kill your family members
to send a message to you,
yeah.
and so on. So we have to develop the capability to ban all forms of harassment, because some unconventional methods can be used. And then the other one now is you have to ban gag orders. There can be no restraint on freedom of expression, meaning once the whistle has been blown, there should be no restraint on the whistleblower or the agency speaking about the matter that is under investigation. Okay, I need to get some water.
So, but you see,
yeah,
and to, as you talk about that, to put in place stuff or items that you're thinking out of the box. You have to. Some people say, in order to catch a criminal, you have to think like a criminal.
Yes.
So think about it and say, what if I'm in this position? What would be the things that I resort to in order to try to gag people or to intimidate people? And think about all of those things, and you encode it and say, if you do this, that, we're coming after you with the law, the full flow of the law. So you can't really do anything at all in regards to it.
Oh, Conrad, welcome. I love you too. Conrad say, who trouble me net? Okay. I am doing the review of the whistleblowing legislation, might I remind you, so we can put in our proposal for amendments to the government. But just to recap, in my review of the law, I saw that it was so far from being truly useful to us that we're going through. I'm educating my listeners now on what we should be looking for in legislation like that. And then on another morning, we will go through and I will propose some amendments and we'll just talk it up. The whistleblowing legislation can be a powerful tool in the fight against corruption, and it can change things not just in the public sector,
Culture.
but also in our communities. It can represent a positive move towards a culture of greater transparency, accountability, and truth telling.
That's true. Yeah.
So, yeah. And we're all about that. So, let me see if I can do one more because it's almost time for us to open the lines.
But
We're going to open the lines for...
But that's what you did. You're at this
Yeah,
one.
I was at 8, but there's some other ones that I hadn't taken off. So, for example, this one is providing essential support services for paper rights. Now, these kinds of legislation they really create artificial rights, if I could put it that way. And so it's not something that one would be born knowing. So you have to have substantial public education around it. So persons know it has to be posted prominently in the workplace. You need to have some support services in the private sector that allows persons to be able to access the resources. And for example, in our legislation, there are a number of persons who are designated as persons to whom you can deliver your protected information. I'm going to tell you who they are. Let me tell you who they are. There are a list of persons to whom you can make the disclosures. Naturally, the minister, attorneys at law, and so on, focus in it. But let me just go to the schedule. Did I rush past it? Right. These are the persons to whom disclosures may be made. The Auditor General, Bank of Jamaica. I think the Auditor General did an audit of a government agency recently, and it came as a result of a whistleblower complaint. I don't remember if it's the education one or I think it's something in education. But so the Auditor General, and we know she acts on it because I believe that was made public. You can make disclosures to Bank of Jamaica. Well, God help you with that one. I shouldn't say that. That's not nice. But I think I'm reacting to the banking fees discussion.
Yeah, that's become a political football now. You notice?
I know. Both sides having a go at it, juggling it and dribbling and
I know what you say.
No goal scored.
Goals scored. And you know we're going to score a goal?
Wait, on that issue?
Yeah.
Yes, I think we will. We will.
How are we going to score a goal as Jamaicans?
And it's not only because the two political parties are now treating it as the issue of the day, but I think ultimately the banks need to be relevant and relatable, and I think a time will come. There are some changes happening. There are some significant changes happening. You see that that digital currency that Bank of Jamaica has introduced. If we had the capability to fall in line,
because of the infrastructure,
much of what the banks are charging people to do wouldn't even arise.
True.
Because we would just be interacting with each other without going through the bank.
That's what it will end up being?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
So all this thing about how cash expensive to move and counting cash, and there'll be no need to count any cash because it would be paperless.
Talking about the wallet and all of them.
Yes, yeah.
So I come to you and say, all right.
But also because we've spoken about bartering and community-based transactions rising to a higher level, and it will happen.
Yeah, it's getting there.
It will happen. So once we are creating more sophisticated local economies with the people we commonly do business with, things are gonna change. And of course, Conrad said, draw out your money out of the bank. Well, that is just echoing what Neville has said as well. All right. So the persons to whom you can make disclosures: the Auditor General, the Bank of Jamaica, the Bureau of Standards, the Children's Advocate, Commission for the Prevention of Corruption. I think that is the Integrity Commission now. Commissioner of Police, Contractor General, Director of Public Prosecutions, Electoral Commission of Jamaica, Fair Trading Commission, Financial Services Commission, Independent Commission of Investigations, Integrity Commission, Inland Revenue Department.
Stage, you know.
Yes. So Tax Authority of Jamaica, National Environment and Planning Agency, Office of Utilities Regulation, Political Ombudsman, Public Defender. And then in the body of the act, you see where you can also report to any attorney at law. You can make a disclosure to any attorney at law, to a minister who has responsibility for the portfolio, and to the Prime Minister. Those are the persons. What's wrong with that list? How accessible are any of those persons? You are a man down the bottom who have some information. How are you going to get to any of those persons? It's nonsense.
You asking me that question?
It's nonsense.
So they really
I have information about one of the minister without portfolio in the Prime Minister's office, so he's their boss. How am I ever going to get that information to him?
So there needs to be...
Without being compromised.
So the situation really wasn't about whistleblowing?
No.
There's only one person who has acted on whistleblowing, which is the
Auditor General. And how, I don't know what system she set up to capture information. So to me, for citizens to make use of these legislation and so on, a lot more needs to be known about the reliable confidentiality structures.
Mm-hmm.
And the legislation, we're going to go to it, but the legislation doesn't give you any assistance there. So now, if you are to provide information, you need to give the full name, address, and occupation of the person making the disclosure. Like, I put a bullseye on my forehead.
I'd say, come and get me.
The nature of the improper conduct in respect of which the disclosure is made. The name of the person alleged to have committed, to be committing, or to be about to commit the improper conduct. The time and place where the alleged improper conduct is taking place, took place, or is likely to take place. You have embarrassed the government enough?
Because it just goes back to a point you were making earlier in terms of how you define a whistleblower, and the whole thing in terms of the anonymity of the person, which becomes very important in terms of what we need to do, how we're going to change the situation. Because exposing yourself there.
Yes, the full name, address, and description of a person, if any, who witnessed the commission of the improper conduct, whether the person making the disclosure has made a disclosure of the same or of some other improper conduct on a previous occasion, and if so, about whom and to whom the disclosure was made. If the person is an employee making a disclosure about that person's employer or a fellow employee, whether the person making the disclosure remains in the same employment. Who would ever make a disclosure? It's supposed to be simple, so even an illiterate person can draw a picture and say, I see man, thief, cow. Come on.
You see, draw a picture.
Yes,
man, thief, cow.
Right.
Interpret that. But as you have pointed out, it goes back to what we think of the body politics. The people are part of, people live in this country. And you must be able to do something that anybody can be a whistleblower. That all of that, even you ask somebody who, I won't say, was being through a certain level of education to fill that up. Them say they can't bother.
But they do even got to question 3. Now, understand, that some of the information we want is in the hands of the driver. Is in the hand of the man who opened the gate and noticed certain things going on.
But they don't want them.
How is he going to even navigate this? It's nonsense. It is, again, the appearance of virtue being more important than virtue itself. We do these things, but this is to make sure that corruption can continue while you have all kinds of procedures in place that nobody cares about.
No, but you have
And
all
the
these
thing
laws that don't really mean anything on the ground for the people who you're really trying to help to
Yeah.
move forward. That's what
Yeah.
it is about.
And believe me, this is not rocket science. People are dealing with their whistleblowing thing in many jurisdictions all over the world. All over the world. And they're getting all kinds of information. The lady who blew the whistle on Facebook, she was being celebrated globally. She's making speeches and doing presentations all over the world. And I can tell you, she don't have to worry about whether she can continue in her profession. Anyway.
So we need to take a leaf
We gotta
out
do
of,
more.
We need
Yeah.
to take a leaf out of some jurisdictions book in terms of how we're gonna move forward with what is happening. As I was pointed out to you, even with what has happened with this whole pandemic, a lot of people have the courage to step in forward and say, no weapon.
You need a book at least.
You need a book. So you're gonna have to write over the book, Mr. Producer, in terms of what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I meant though. But as you have said, best practices around the world. But I like the expression that you call it. Cardboard shields.
Cardboard shields.
Cardboard
Yes, man. Paper
shield.
tigers.
Yeah, cardboard shield. You make it and knock it down. It really don't mean anything or impacting the person's life on a day-to-day basis. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You set up the persons. So if you have a cardboard shield and a man come at you with that gun, what you do?
Throw the cardboard. Use the cardboard to cover your body. So you won't be and one of the things in it too, which I found particularly disagreeable, there's a discretion in the so of course we know the Integrity Commission is the designated authority for investigating these complaints.
Seriously?
Yes. That's why it is twinned with the Integrity Commission Act. And they have infrastructure for investigating complaints. And the truth is, they should be able to do a good job of it. But I'm sure it won't get any better treatment than the other investigations that they are doing. They have like 2 complaints from my company going back to mostly 2018.
You have complained in terms of the corruption of people involved in some.
Yes, improper conduct on the part of public officers, and they did acknowledge receipt of it. And I started to follow up on it again this year because I said, you know what, this really is it look bad, and I'm not going to be speaking here encouraging people to hold others accountable when I am not doing the same in the matters that concern me. So I've begun to follow up on it, and not one of my follow-ups have been acknowledged, but time enough for that. I'm busy doing this first.
Yeah, it's still alive, still above. You know.
So one of the things that I find most disagreeable in it is that there is a discretion in the authority to decide whether or not they even hold a hearing. So it says, nothing in this act shall be construed as requiring the designated authority to hold any hearing. So you can make your complaint, and it may be something that requires, some public hearing, and the authority has complete discretion to just deal with it quietly, shove it under the carpet if they feel a mind, and so on and so forth.
What I'm saying is that situation is so bad that they'd have so many investigations to do. So trying to save some money here, but that's you're not going to break the back of corruption if it's dependent on somebody. I go to the bar and talk to you and say, I have this. Nah. The brotherhood will not allow it. So
right. Just go quietly.
Yeah.
So for example, I know this to be so. I made a complaint to the Integrity Commission about a man who was serving in a very high public office, and I saw a conflict of interest. They acknowledged receipt of my complaint. They said, it would be addressed. I heard absolutely nothing from them. But I saw the man resign, and I saw in his resignation that was published in the paper that he used language about a potential conflict of interest concerning some activities to be undertaken in the future. Has led to the resignation. No, I am supposed to feel like am I supposed to feel as if my concern was addressed? I don't feel that way. I don't feel that way at all. because I got nothing from the commission to say that my complaint had any impact on the decision which I saw reflected in the media. It would only be my vanity that would cause me to think there is a connection. And I am vain enough to think there is a connection. But the truth of the matter is, I feel as if I made a complaint on a matter of public interest, and it was not addressed pointedly. So one of the standards coming out of the world's review of it is that persons who make complaints have a right to a genuine day in court, whatever that means. They must see that their complaint has been addressed specifically, because you know what? When you call on citizens to observe and honor their duty to safeguard the public interest, they must see that the effort they put in has borne fruit, and that it's acknowledged, that it has value.
And that is one of the challenges that most people said, this now make no sense at all.
Why do I bother? Because, it's just me kicking against the bricks and hurting my toes.
And when the persons in your society become disillusioned with all of the processes, like a lot of people are disillusioned with the justice system and what it is, it really...
Then they disengage.
They
don't show up to vote. They don't pay taxes. They don't participate in any public policy that is meant to be for the general well-being of the public. And basically, you have Jamaica. That's what is going on in Jamaica now. If we're going to shift it, we must do it in good faith. And the legislation and the vehicles that we create should have the capacity, the capability to deliver against the stated objectives. We're just about at the break for 8 o'clock. Please remember now that the numbers to call us, 619-1508 and 279-8473. We are particularly welcoming to new callers because we want to broaden the discussion. To our regular callers, we love you and your spirit keeps us going. But we also want to be sure that the ideas that we're sharing and the path that we're on is of value to other citizens who are desirous of seeing a change. I am indebted to my friend in Toronto who has suggested that a good thing to do with the cardboard shield is to give a paper cut. I can use it. But cardboard don't give a really good paper cut. Could it? Let's think about that while we take the break. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. This is The Morning Connection.
No.
We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please
scope of the sanctions it can apply to Russia to deter aggression towards Ukraine.
The British government says Prime Minister Boris Johnson has received a copy of the civil service inquiry into alleged COVID-19 lockdown violations at his office and residence. The Cabinet Office says the senior civil servant conducting the investigation submitted an updated version of her report after police requested it to be pared back while it continues investigations. Mr. Johnson has denied any wrongdoing. Here's Jessica Parker.
What the Met Police said on Friday is they'd asked for minimal reference to be made to events relevant to its investigation. And as I say, we won't have a copy of what Sue Gray may have originally written versus what she's now going to release, if indeed there have been tweaks in light of what the Metropolitan Police has said. So I think there are quite a lot of unknowns still in terms of exactly what we're going to be reading about.
A UN report says the Taliban and its allies are alleged to have killed scores of former Afghan officials and security forces members since they seized power in August. The report said there have been credible allegations of disappearances and killings. The Taliban have rejected the report. Reports from central Nigeria say armed men have killed dozens of people in attacks in several areas. They say hundreds of bandits on motorcycles attack villages in Niger State. This report from Chris Iwaka.
The gunmen reportedly came in their numbers, riding on motorbikes. Residents told the BBC that the attackers shot people at close range. They ransacked homes and also abducted a yet-to-be-confirmed number of people. Authorities in Niger State say there are ongoing military operations to rid the area of armed gangs, known locally as bandits. In northwest states of Kaduna, Zamfara, and Kebbi, and central Niger, gunmen continue to carry out deadly attacks on communities and kidnapping residents after destroying their homes.
News from the BBC. Police in Kenya say at least 5 people have been killed by a roadside bomb near the northeastern town of Mandera. Other reports say up to 10 people died when their minibus exploded. The police said the attackers used rocket-propelled grenades. They fled towards the Somali border when the security forces arrived. The Islamist group Al-Shabaab conducts regular attacks in the region. The African Union has suspended Burkina Faso a week after the military seized power in a coup. It said the country would be blocked from all AU activities until constitutional order was restored. The West African regional bloc, ECOWAS, which suspended Burkina Faso last week, has sent a delegation to Ouagadougou. It will join a team from the United Nations. The president of Kazakhstan, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, has dismissed the mayor of the country's biggest city, Almaty, following the deadly political unrest there earlier this month. An order on the presidential website said the former Prime Minister, Bakizan Zagintayev, had been removed from his post as mayor and transferred to a new unspecified position. On the eve of the Lunar New Year, millions in mainland China have travelled to celebrate the incoming Year of the Tiger with their families, the first such gathering for many since 2019 because of coronavirus. More from our Asia-Pacific editor, Celia Hatton.
Earlier this month, Chinese officials were cautioning against extensive travel, with some towns and cities even offering cash rewards to those who decided to stay put to try to keep COVID rates low. Chinese travel websites say many have heeded official advice and have booked only short trips, but others are determined to go back to their hometowns and villages. The Chinese Ministry of Transport has estimated that almost 1.2 billion journeys will be made over the month-long holiday period.
And that's the BBC News.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station.
Moving.
My station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Bass FM. Keep listening.
Youths, are you stressed? Are you faced with trauma? Well, this is the program for you. Join Royton McLaren for Youth Resilience and Empowerment every Monday from 7:30 to 8 p.m. on Best 100.5 FM.
One in. A hurricane we name. Are we rough? Whether we are man hurricane or woman hurricane. We want you to know that. We come here to mash up building, blow down things and take life. Flood out place. We no ramp. We no respect no one. So no take no chance with we. Listen to Adprem and prepare. Hurricanes do happen, so be prepared. Yes, be prepared.
A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management.
Live the life. Respect the music. And keep your radio locked in.
The Best 100 FM.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100
Wagwan.
Guten Tag.
Buongiorno.
We are
The Kingstones.
I think I love you best of them because you're better than the rest of them. It's so amazing how I love you best of them because you're better than the rest of them.
This is Madam Michelle, and I want to take time out to big up all our
Artists link up, kings and queen. Artists link up, one name.
When I'm in town, I tune into Best 100 FM. ALU with Madame Michelle every Monday at 6 p.m. This is some of the best music. This program is sponsored by Gel Music Records, Kalanji Music, and Bad Bull Productions. Madame Michelle was born playing music on Best FM 100.
Veg Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Veg Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Good morning and welcome back. It's that time of the day when we begin to speak with our callers, so please don't be shy. Give us a call. We're talking about whistleblowing legislation, the changes that need to be made, and yours truly has given some framework, I think, some best practices that we see emerging on the world stage in best practices from Best FM. Says the producer who doesn't miss an opportunity to promote the show.
Promote the station.
Lord, bless him. So we want to, it requires a cultural shift.
I agree with you, my sister, and I agree with the producer. And I think a call is coming in as we do. But we got to change. Just to make a shift and a change.
Right. Let me read what Straight Shooter has written. He says, "Good morning, hosts. It seems as if hotels no longer register guests, whether they are staying overnight or record the date and time of their arrival. Jamaica is now resembling Trump's America." Here, each man is doing his own thing. Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection.
Shalom to you, sister. Shalom.
Shalom to you, my brother. Happy Monday.
Have mercy, Percy.
Percy, have mercy. Come.
I have a whole lot of mercy, man. That's in my middle name. Yes, Mr. Samuel. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great, but you're not communicating with me. I told you from the other day.
No, hold on.
I need your number.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, it's like a life and death thing.
Oh, it's a life and death thing for you. Okay. That's all right. I think I have your number somewhere, but I want to have a discussion with you, not by myself only, but somebody who...
But that's a different discussion.
Yeah, right.
He wants a discussion with you.
Me. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. But
Samuel, can I suggest that before you leave the call, you just give your number to Andre again for us, please? And so Pastor can call you after the show, this morning after the show.
From you today, Pastor?
What?
Today, he's asking, could he hear from you today?
Yeah, man.
Oh, okay. All right, Miss Lynette.
Yes, brother.
As for the integrity.
Oh, which one? The whistleblowing. Yeah, I see. You're onto something else.
How does he that keepeth his mouth, keepeth his life, applied to that situation in regards to whistleblowing?
Well, he that keepeth his mouth, keeping his life, is an injunction against intemperate, quarrelsome disclosures. It's not about truth-telling. Certainly, if it is about truth-telling, it means the truth should be told in a palatable, peaceful way so that it does not present a risk to your life.
Although some of the times, if you say...
No matter how nicely you say
it and speak the truth, people will become offended and they'll do their next best. But the thing is, you must always stand on the side of truth.
Specifically to the point you're making, it's why I would recommend with the amendments to this act that we preserve the anonymity of the disclosures.
All right. With regard to our situation presently in Jamaica,
yes,
there was a large sum given out of taxpayers' money by the Prime Minister to the each constituent.
Mm-hmm.
In my particular constituent, I don't see a cent spent. I don't see a sign of not even, say, $100,000 spent. We have some roads that are full of potholes, main road. All right?
Talking about what happened?
How do we report that? Because some discrepancies are obvious, even to the very government. Everybody is visible. But how do we report and get recompense in regards to having things done that is required?
That one is actually that one is actually pretty easy, because you would start by making, and if you wanted to be elaborate, take pictures. You would start by making a report. You can make it to the Auditor General, but you see the weaknesses in the system are just appalling, because when the law says you can make a report to the Auditor General, I'm going to assume that when you go on our website, there's a section that says whistleblowers come here, or there's a number. I'm kind of being facetious too, but we do lack proper structures.
Is it possible for you to give me the number for the Prime Minister's office?
Well, the only number I have is, and you can right, absolutely, the office of the Prime Minister, especially if your MP is in his office.
Do we have a direct link to the office of the Prime Minister?
Yes, you can find it. You can find it online, but yes, you can. But what happens to you when you do that is anybody's guess. So you know what I'm going to undertake to do. I'm going to find out what the whistleblowing procedures are to make a report to the Prime Minister's office.
That'll be interesting to note.
And I'll share that with callers. Yes.
I will continue to listen. I'm low on credit. Pastor Percy.
Leave the number with the gentleman. Okay? Leave the number.
All right. Leave your number with Andre.
Again.
Well, just do it for me this time, because I'm gonna monitor the call.
Okay.
All right, brother. Have a great day. All right, so
as an activist calling, say, all right, we talk about this. What can we do to present him? So we're gonna test the system.
Yes,
we're testing the system.
So I'm gonna check out the whistleblowers procedure for the PM's office. The truth is, I could ask the Mr. Producer, would you, when I don't know if their office is open at this time, just to call and find out what are the procedures, or if you take a look on the some of those things I have to. Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Mr. Foreman.
Good morning, sir. How are you, my brother?
I'm here looking at things happening around us and try to focus on the positive things. What causing the problem?
Okay.
The world scientists them, all of the scientists them, and the world 3/4 of the world leaders them, and all of the super rich capitalists. The scientists them made an invention, and the invention them called the satellite, or they might have a different name to it. But what happened? Them drawing the energy from outer space, inner space, carry to Earth. And that energy, it focuses on electronic microchip. So you're going to have your phone attack to you, your TV attack to you, your fridge attack to you. But all of those things, it's going to represent with a voice of a human being. That voice of a human being, only one way you can get that voice of a human being is to connect to the brain energy that connects to outer into the universe.
All right.
That is electronic magnetic energy circulate with water and wind in your brain.
All right, but
it's just the heat in your body.
All right, okay.
So what you can do now, we realize that energy is your soul. That is what you have with the connection with the Maker. That is the universe, spiritually, because the Maker is everything, So that maker is have an identity that is right in front of everyone. But remember, say you get an injection when you pull up when you're a baby. That stagnant brain.
Freedom to choose is being
Take
taken
away
away
from
by
you. When take away
technology.
from you.
Yeah, okay. All right. You have any other point you want to make this morning, friend?
Yes. All right. Listen to this one here now.
Yeah.
Miss Minette?
Yes, brother.
You know, last time you was in the studio up for the 5th January.
Uh-huh.
And you I was cool. You know what that they say? They're still into winter. You know, you have to come out of winter to make the change. And when you look around, you're going to see nature itself and move within that energy there. The cloud of our work. So when the sunlight starts shining to make spring come in, the sunlight starts shining and melt up the ice them. So the cloud them take it up and move with it and go dash it off. Like water, rain, so you're going to find, say, when something of flowers, red, choopy, and like him over there, when you get that rain water, it mixes with
He's alive again.
The heat.
Yes.
And the snow coming together to get a blend, so that water, moisture of water for energy flow. The cloud blend it out and clean it up, and send it out back, Those are the mystic of nature. We're not focusing that way.
Okay, so
focusing strategy way. Say, we want to make look on pitch, look on phone, pan with. You know, say when you walk with the phone, you walk with a radiation, bam, pan you.
Okay.
You don't even know that.
Yeah, man. A lot of people.
Your energy can bring cancer to your body. It can deafen. It can blind you. Even when people take on the technology, them don't want the human being anymore in existence. If you don't want to hear, plain, not telling you.
Okay, all right.
The way of fear, them fear the Almighty. That is the Creator Himself. Them mash up the creation of the existence, I take on to feed them technology and feed them way. I mean, I go feed them way.
Okay.
I'm not going there, my paper. Respect my honor unto the creation as the foundation. Liberate my soul. That is more important to. Because anything that me can gain on this earth, me have to go left it. That one thing me not leave. If me not careful, then take it away from me.
All right.
Just upon yourself, because this is a greater experience. A judgment. Let the weak tears.
Okay.
You don't start crying. Let me see your next plea.
All right.
Hear what the government is do. Listen to me and learn the consciousness.
Wait, no, man. Wait. Hold on.
Listen to me, no, man.
No, hold on, no, man. Wait. We might. Okay.
My credit soon done, but I have enough time. You have the whole time.
Yep, you can call back. You can call back.
No,
man.
I not call back. Here, when I them build up technology now, where it had to 1,000 people work. And you're tripping right now.
Mm-hmm.
The 1,000 people where to do the work, them only have who no want vaccine if you got your yard. If you who take the vaccine, they will carry the virus that you lab it come from. And so you lab them, if they want us to work like a period of time and then redundant. Because the robots them carrying is 1,000 people work. So they don't need none to control that work. They want them put them into place. So they not have no work. We not send back in a society, we not go war and kill one another. We not go do demands. The thing them a lock down. See nothing do now too much. See no work now go on because they change them plan with them digital system for come in, for dominate and abuse and kill out and wipe out. Them busy do if you don't want dead and don't want live. We not try wake up and smell the natural energy of life and try cling to the source. And acknowledge and get
all right,
right.
Darkness. We have another caller. We have another caller on the line now.
Thank
you for sharing with us this morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Why am I forced to listen to them type of listen, man.
Hello, enlighten. Hold on. It's a free flow, So the man has a point, and he's saying that he has made a decision. This is what I'm summarizing. He has made a decision.
Yeah, but listen, man.
But we're waiting for a call. All right, go ahead, enlighten. Go ahead. Make your point.
You want to take the vaccine, right?
Yes.
Why you want to? What authority? Where have he done his study that he want to put over when little mind tell him say? I'm little mind are telling them something, you know. Little mind is telling him all the things, and he want to contradict the people that has gone to years of research and studies.
Come now.
Enlighten.
Share something with me, please.
Little man mind telling him he must tell about it right, you know.
Enlighten. You go ahead and make your point, my brother. What is your concern?
All right. What I got to talk about?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes.
The action of the DPP.
Yes, man. The ruling. It's a 14-page ruling.
Yeah, man. I was scanning through a little of it. I'm telling you that this lady is one of the worst DPP this country has ever had. Some of her ruling, boy, I don't know what to get. Because listen, she stated in one part of her ruling that they can't charge flight green because the risk management, the disaster risk management act, they have the authority to what is it saying basically is that they have the authority to move about.
Mm-hmm.
But move about doing what? Move about going parties? They're supposed to be moving about doing the government job, government work. The man wasn't on the government work. The man was at a party, so what you want to tell me now?
You have to have recreation, man.
Huh?
You have to have relax and recreation, man. That's what you must do. It can't be all work all the time. You enlighten?
Yes, yeah. So all right. So me now, me have my job now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because me have no time to relax them because me have the risk management act then.
So you see the absurdity of the decision, but go ahead. I was just tongue in cheek.
I'm no man.
Listen, man, I'm so disturbed.
If we want to stop by this law in this country, you know.
Yes.
We can't have 2 and 3 and 4 laws. We have to have one law.
Agreed.
You see what is happening in England right now, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You see them Boris Johnson under pressure, you know.
Partygate.
For having parties on a fifth place, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not relaxing, it was relaxing too.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I think they said they were just having drinks while discussing the budget.
You understand?
So they tried to align it to work and they were still under pressure. Let me tell you, my brother, this whole thing is such a waste of public time and resources, and it makes such a mockery of everything that we think is sacred that few things render me speechless, but this one, I glanced at it, but I had seen it coming so long ago that it just really that this opinion should have been one page.
No. Another thing again. What with this whistleblower thing we're talking about?
Yes.
It is going to be difficult for people to want to give up information when they see what is going on with this type of thing, you know.
Precisely.
If we don't change the way we govern this country, nobody not going to want to give up the information. Because people are going to say, give up information and reach a certain authority. Then they're going to train a file 13, you know.
Let me tell you, not just that. They do nothing about it and they put your health and safety, your life and safety at risk.
Of course, and you might lose your life or you lose your job and all them type of thing. So all these things, all these nice talk when they're making in parliament and telling you must do this and you must, they will pay for it. No. You know what is the biggest laugh that I have is the gun that they claim that
they're finding.
Finding. Now you tell me, Jamaicans must work money high and work money brain, you know. No make everything where people tell you don't believe it, you know.
Well, Admiral Bailey is claiming credit for that one. He said they must bring in the dogs who can sniff out the hidey holes. And he saw them.
But we could man, I go find time to go dig up hole, such a deep hole that you have to use tractor to dig up to find gold.
Those must be the retired guns.
I must have some gun.
Nobody knows.
No, we must look into that thing.
That's true, we shouldn't laugh.
Listen, man. The authorities is so stupid that them care when they want to tell a lie, them can't tell it good. It's like Mr. Sometimes you were on the street, you know, people that beg your money. And him beg you today, and 5 minutes ago, him come beg you again.
Yes.
Look how we are begging with a different story, you know.
Right.
We're a different story. Well, it's just that the government is doing, you know. Them are stage a thing, and them stage is so stupid that this is big old truck that dig up big hole to find gun. So the person that was bearing those guns, you know, must have a big truck that for dig the same hole to bury the gun to.
Oh boy. Yes.
In a public thoroughfare, and nobody passed there one time and said, wait, the man that dig this hole and look and see. What kind of foolish is that, the man?
All right.
Well, I tell you, it's you use certain type of people for put in a certain position, man. This is the result you get, you know.
Oh boy.
Yeah, those guns were retired. That was a burying ground.
But did they show us the gun, Enlighten? Did they show? They show us the guns that they recovered.
I think them show us some pictures, some gunmen for that them show it.
Okay.
Or for all you know, that was just photoshopping for the headline.
Photoshop of some guns, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's that the one that they dig.
Well, what do you think about the disclosures that over 400 lives have been saved by virtue of the police proactivity in foiling the guns for hire murder schemes?
400 lives were saved?
Yes.
You never read it? It was the front page yesterday, and then I think Erica wrote
you know, so I never get any papers yesterday.
You need to read it. You need to read it because you have been saying it, you know, and we've been saying it, that this thing runs so deep that if you don't get a change in mindset, a change in heart, we're not going to get to the root of what our problems are, you know. And the article itself highlighted that because everybody into it now, you know. And those of us who out there interacting in the community, them code figures are 150,000 to 500,000. They don't know some of the realities on the road, my brother. But thank you for making that.
So in other words, it's just like the 200 gun with
right, that's why I ask you.
The security minister say coming into the island every week and he don't know the source where it's coming from.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take our break now. You know we love talking to you, and if you could stay, I would welcome that. But I can stay, man. Oh, I appreciate that. Great. Okay.
No, sir.
We'll be right back.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-Time Taxi Service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
You can call us on 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love this station. I think it's great.
My station.
Moving.
This is my station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Bass FM. Keep listening.
This is your late afternoon companion to Shikalu on your 100 FM dial. Make sure you tune in and turn up every Tuesdays from 5 until 7 p.m. for OTAWTL. That is on the ear with me, yours truly, a program that that will leave you inspired, entertained, and informed. With the credit giveaways each week. Street Link, where we go in the streets to find out from the people what is hot and what is not, and so much more. And guess what? You can now voice your birthday shout-outs on our WhatsApp line at 876-438-9442, and we'll play them live on air. So what are you waiting for? Turn up Tuesdays from 5 to 7 p.m. right here on Best 100 FM, the station that is sizzling every day.
Vejan Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Vejan Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back to the Morning Connection. Enlightened.
Yes, you see, what I noticed to say.
Yes.
In the late 60s and early 70s, the police force was kind of politicized.
Yeah.
Very, very much. We had Joe Williams and all them type of man. And I see the same thing is taking place right now. Let me tell you why I said that. We have a man was murdered in the house of a prominent
attorney at law.
Attorney. And this gentleman that is now this crime fighting thing, you know. He came on the radio and said to us, the Jamaican public, that no breaking and entering took place.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, up till this day, they can't find nobody to solve that murder. And the gentleman that the owner of the house claimed that he was sleeping, and I know that I think them interview him, I take him to the station. If it was you and me,
no man, I think they did.
Well, if it was you and me, I know we would have faced the court and have to prove whether we killed the man or not. Right? That's my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, in Spanish Town, we have two gangs. One other gang aligned to the Jamaica Labour Party, and the Klansman gangs aligned to the People's National Party. And that's when it look like all the man them aligned to the other gang. Give up them gun and go to church.
and the Klansman is before
you saying the church having a good impact on people.
Everything happening in Spanish Town now, you hear say, they say, yes, a Klansman gang. They might go as far as to split the Klansman gangs in a two now. Having trial for one part of the Klansman gang. While the one other gang, if you ask anybody who live in Spanish Town, can tell you that the one other gang still operates in Spanish Town. I start people same way.
Serious money too, you know. Serious money, you know. Serious money. Serious money they extorting.
And there is no action. So we want us listen, I am not here to say that people in the Klansman gang are not doing wrongs, you know. But I want the equal treatment. Everybody, as long as you're a criminal, whether you're joining one other Klansman or no other gang, you must be brought, if you're doing wrongs, you must be brought to justice.
To justice.
Try you, and if you can't find you guilty, we find you guilty and put you away. And one of the things I was thinking about was my friend was discussing over the weekend. Only trick the people when he said that when the British decide to give us that prison. He said we don't want a prison, we want school. Right? And you must realize that in every society, regardless of how much school and college you have and university, you need prison too.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I mean, especially now because the prisons are substandard. So
right.
So
when we have substandard prison and keep people like animals in those prisons, I will let them out back. They're not going to behave like animals.
You have a word fight, you know, the risk.
Yeah.
So we Jamaicans must look into this thing and not make the little man just come to, well, we don't want a prison, we want a school. But of course we want school.
And then we get neither.
We want prison.
But we got neither prison or school.
We got neither school nor prison.
So we've lost out all around.
The man give prison or give it school. We need both of them because people will always commit themselves. And when they commit themselves and we put them in this dungeon, we bring up back criminals to come kill we, say we and behave unruly.
Sensitivity.
All right, my brother, we do have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, man, we need people to put thought into what they're thinking, man, and start this foolishness and when people say something, think about what they're saying and so you can come up with the right decision.
With the right decision. All right. Well, we thank you for the input this morning.
Okay.
Thank you, brother. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning, sir.
Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year, my friend.
For real?
Yes, man.
Like in a real life?
Yes, man. Happy New Year. Before you go, George. Before you go on,
In radio life, not real life.
I come by your place like 2-3 weeks ago. You weren't set up. There was nobody there. Needed come look for you. But
He was on holiday.
Yeah. So seriously.
Well, vacation.
You must be vacation or vacation, whichever one you call it. I passed through, but I never saw you. So.
Oh, you call me, man. You have my number. You call me, man.
Okay. I never have a number saved to that
doing
instrument.
all right?
Yes,
We're
man.
good. We're good.
Sometimes I call and I not get nobody. Myself, I couldn't go and deal with talk.
Oh, yes. Well, I'm glad you got through this morning. We miss hearing your voice. Have you been well?
Yeah, man. That's where I go, man. I was so like a big baby kite and also me can catch up. So me catch up.
All right.
Good.
You know what amazes me?
Yes.
I love see the kids them go back to school, man.
Me too.
The last time we spoke, you were celebrating that as well with the train.
Oh my!
They were on the train.
More and more kids are traveling on the train from Mason to Spanish from Linstead because the road crashes them getting so bad,
frequent and fatal. But have you been listening to us? What you want to share with us this morning?
Yes, so may I tell you, number one, Miss say, I love to see the children them going to school.
Oh, okay.
That is one.
Yes.
I love that. Bring them back to school. Is that younger generation? And secondly, what they are doing about crime in this country? Nothing.
Well, the police reported that they have been proactively intervening in the guns for hire market, and they have foiled an attempt to kill at least 400 people this last year. If not, the death toll would have been much higher, homicide. So they're giving us an insight into the crime prevention work. So that much I can report. As it is with what's going on the ground, you see it for what it is. That they are struggling to find the right strategy. They're still mourning the loss of the power to use emergency powers.
And secondly, I heard the assistant commissioner. He took all the division and where the crime are happening and calling these guys and give them a time and nobody no report them, but put out them picture.
Oh yes, the
Westmoreland to town.
Yeah, the list of wanted persons.
Yeah, man, just put them out. Everybody see them and people talk. And there was I used to talk about a week ago or so. This driver that hit a lady on the boulevard and kill her and never turn himself and take a long time before he go turn himself.
Yes, that has happened. He has turned himself in now.
Yeah, because you see, that's what we want. If a man you do something like that, there's the people them in the taxi, then that's what happens. Because things that don't man, I come out of the taxi and say, let me out. I'm coming out. You understand me?
Yes.
So let us hope that things get better this year.
I hope so too, my brother. All right. Thank you. And please stay in touch with us. We have another caller on the line.
Okay.
All right, George. Have a great day. Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
First, how you do?
I am good enough.
Yeah, man. Last week I get cut off me and my talk, but sometimes, when you have to speak the truth,
bad-hearted people want to hear the goodness, you know. More want to hear what they want to hear.
No, Sheppy, what you talk about? You
You
were
don't know
talking to me last
Terry,
week and we lost the call.
You been on the last. It get cut off because what I was saying to you, the
It's
person
to
never
us.
like it.
To us,
So
no man.
chop me off.
No man, hold on, Chip.
I shall go because
All right,
you
Chippy,
can't
what
read
is your
between the
point
lines.
this morning? What's your point this morning? Tell me what you're saying.
This morning,
Yeah, well, yes, sir.
the wrong thing where the brother spoke to you about the when the English them want to say no, the prisoner come here. Him not tell you the story how we going on, and you know and others know and they don't want to talk
What
about.
was the story?
We have to make our side look pretty.
No, Sheppy, you have to remind us what was said. Because I know an
All
offer
right.
was made.
The brother talk said,
Dr. Blair, Tony Blair came and offered to... No,
the brother said, the English them said, they're going to send out those who from Jamaica who commit and build a prison out here. And my government said, no, make them do their time over there. You know, can't have to come build prison out here and send them come on. Make them do their time over there. That is why we never take the prison. And decent people in this country here agree with it.
So the other people disagree are not not decent. That's what they're saying. No, man, but you use language because the fact that we have a disagreement on a point don't mean that we are not decent.
Not decent.
It just means that we agree to disagree. That's all right, you know.
No, may I go ask you something? No, a person commit himself in America and England, and then you go build prison out here and send them out here.
That was the motivation, or it was the okay.
And my government said no, let them stay there. No, you know, if you are giving the prison, give.
But Sheppy, let me ask you,
Sheppy. Not because of they commit themselves over there. You are going to build a prison out and send them out there. Make them do the time there.
But let me ask you a question. Let me ask you an important question. Have you ever been to Tower Street in our Spanish Town prison? Have you ever been inside there?
No, sir.
All right. I have been in both of them.
Yes, sir.
And even though people would say the people who have committed themselves must serve time, the conditions in the prisons, those prisons are inhumane. Those prisons were built from the 1700, 1800. You must go in there. So even if they're saying we're going to give you the offer of a prison so that we can send the deportees back here, the deportees is a significant number. No, but you see, let me tell you my personal thing. This is my personal thing. I would have accepted that offer, find the money and make it.
And send them come out here.
Yeah, but they're coming anyway. They're coming anyway, you know.
Regardless of coming, make them stay there to their time.
No, man. The bigger issue for me was that we needed.
You see that way, but we not see that way.
Sheppy, can I ask you a question? Is there any decision taken by the this current government that you disagree with? Anything you have seen them do that you say, that's not in the interest of the country?
Yeah, yes, there are many things.
Give me one.
Tell us one.
Because it's starting to seem like anything they say.
This prison, but there are things there are things.
All right.
When me hear them talk, me say no, me not like that. But what I'm saying, Percy, a person do somebody in who did live a foreign, and when they do the wrongs, you want to send them out of Africa. They make why you don't want them stay.
No, ideally, Sheppy, ideally, I agree with you. Let them stay and do their time where they committed their offense. But if you are offering to keep them in my country and you will give me the money to provide for them, and you will build a prison for me which can accommodate some of my prisoners who are existing in inhumane conditions, I am not going to turn that down lightly. I don't know the ins and outs.
Well, you can say that way, but anytime I'm a person, look where the artists are there. Stop, got the country and about the artists you there. And what you want to do then? Am I go send money, come and push him back and make him stay up his out there, make him stay there the interim. When he done interim, he can come out.
Can I tell you something, Sheppy? prison is big business in some places, you know. Big business.
We don't want it that way. We don't want
big
that
business.
Well, I know.
So keeping prisoners for another country that will pay for them is in some ways no different than keeping foreign students. You make money off it and you can use it to good purpose.
We don't want that the money. We don't want that the money.
All right, my brother. I hear you.
We hear you. We hear you.
All right.
We don't want that. Make them shit because we know there are many youth here right now. We get spoiled. We go, and when they come back out with natty dread and come back and
you mean
start
when they go to
work again.
You mean when they go to prison in foreign countries?
There are many of them will get teaching for out here where we connect with some of them out here. Those are deported.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And different, and instead of school, them go learn the right, them learn the wrong things. And there are many youth again too where they must not put the juveniles with the big criminal because when they
that's
come
true.
Out,
that is why we are saying if you get an offer to build a prison, it gives you more capacity for prisoners that can allow you to segregate the population. All right, I have another call now, Sheppy. I'm gonna run. I'm going to run this morning.
We agree we have different point of view. Thank you, Sheppy, for that input.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning, sir.
I couldn't get a call from about Wednesday, Thursday because the system your station keep chipping out down here.
Oh.
So you have it. So you hear it good over the weekend, or?
No, and it's happening right now too.
Okay.
Okay, producer.
You have to
make
follow
note of that for me. The caller is saying in the St. Elizabeth area, the station keep going down. Okay, cool. Thanks.
Right, go ahead. What's
Go
your
ahead
point?
now, my brother.
Yes, I was listening to Sheppy, and Sheppy don't see he don't understand that Britain still send those prisoners down here anyway.
Yes, but he's saying after they have served their time.
But whether served time or not, we needed that prison.
That's what we say on this side. We think that it could have been a win-win situation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But the government didn't see it at that time, and this issue now, is like the SOE that never happened. Because it never happened, we can say we would have gained a great benefit, and they are saying the same thing, that if they had the SOE, the country would have gained a great benefit.
The other thing I call about
yes.
Samuda, this guy Samuda that they are promoting to run as a MP. What's his name again?
Milton.
Huh?
No.
No, Matthew is
Matthew
already.
Matthew Samuda, no, he's a senator. He's a senator.
He's a senator now.
He's a senator, but he's not an MP.
True, yes.
Right.
He will be in the next general election, mark my word. They'll put him in a seat where he will win.
Okay.
Because he's very popular on the TV. That's what they do, They put up some person.
Mm-hmm. Is that a good strategy?
Reid, they were doing the same thing with Reid.
Isn't that a good strategy?
Yeah, it's good, but the PNP won't do it. I've never seen them done that.
So that's
anyway,
the PNP's loss, not utilizing a good strategy.
He was, what I call about, he was saying that the hotel that they're building don't have any, it's not helping to destroy the environment or the beaches. What do you think about that?
We don't know. I can't really comment on it because when you're building something that is going to change the natural ecosystem, you lose and you win. That's the point. So what you want to do when you're building something that is not a natural part of the environment is to make sure that you build it don't disrupt too many things.
Or you create an environment that restores balance.
Yeah.
So I don't know enough about it to say whether he is far wrong or he's spot on and talking truth.
He was talking like it's mostly garbage, like plastic bottle and all those stuff. Let me tell you something. You check all this area where they build hotel. It's in a Maras area.
And
where you have mangrove and all those things. And where the waste from the hotel, where does it go?
In the mangrove. Yeah, but you've raised an important point. And as we said, we really can't comment on it because the evidence has proven that when you put something in the mangrove, which is a natural breeding ground for a lot of fish, you are affecting your fish mass in the area. So now they have to try to be doing a lot of work from the university to recover the morass because it has affected the fish stock in the area.
But, when a minister speaks or, whatever capacity he speaks in, he's not the person from whom I expect to hear the scientific information. NEPA or NRCA are the ones who should speak on it because a lot of these things become politicized and then you can't bring it back.
But NEPA doesn't serve any purpose in this country right now. I think they should get rid of NEPA.
That's a strong
statement. but we need
a natural resources.
So maybe the politics have overwhelmed it, and so many times you see they're overruled by the politicians, and that's a concern because their independence has been compromised so many times.
They are not independent. They are bought.
Well, regrettably, my brother, what you say have plenty truth in it. Because we see the court strike down what they do, the prime minister overrule them. It just doesn't seem to be functioning as it should. All right, I have another.
About that?
Well, we have to change it, and the change takes place in one of two ways. You get politicians who respect the law, and we hold them accountable. Or we introduce new laws that can be that can be more effective. Whichever one we do, Parliament features in it. Because NEPA is answerable to a minister, and the minister sets policy. And we've been talking about whistleblowing this morning. Maybe one or two persons in NEPA who are seeing the illegal and improper things need to speak up. Let's hope we can encourage them to do so in a form that makes sense.
I think we need to do what those truckers are doing in Ottawa. Have a nice day.
All right, you have to tell me what the truckers are doing.
And yeah, it is a massive. Thanks very much. It's a massive thing from all over.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Hello, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Neville.
Breaking news. I'm going to the airport right now.
Yes.
To pick up your merchandise from the warehouse.
You mean it's foreign merchandise?
Yes, they are landed in the island, and I just got the call, and I'm going to take it to Best FM by 10 o'clock.
All right. Well, we shall.
And then
we'll
when I
report on
deliver
it.
this set of merchandise,
yes,
I want to build another set of merchandise. One for Andre, the producer, and one for my guru and mentor, Mr. Jerry Small.
All right.
And I'm suggesting to Best FM to build a museum, to build a reggae museum or some museum on their compound, so that you can sell merchandise to your many subscribers out there. And that way help you to sustain your presence on the radio, to educate the Jamaican people.
Well,
also supplement any advertisement that they may be politicalized or strategizing from the station.
Neville, that is a great idea. I hope a certain someone is listening.
So I tell you that every year,
yes,
on your calendar, you need to have a customer appreciation day.
Well, I agree with you on that.
And greet up and support your merchandise throughout the year. Because I tell you, most Jamaicans don't understand what's going on. Let me just tell you exactly what's going on. I'm done. Come here by airport now.
Yes, sir, you need to be here by 10 o'clock.
Yeah, right now, man. I'm going to reach airport. Listen to this now.
Yes.
We are up against some great changes in the world. One of them is climate change. There is no government in the world have any money anywhere or any resources anywhere to fight the elements of climate change. Because mankind is so polluted and disrupted nature that the climate is going to do for mankind what mankind should be doing for themselves. So they're doing up the pants in God's house now, what they're going to tell the Jamaican people if we have an earthquake. The Bank of Jamaica is an independent entity, and the government cannot go back to the Bank of Jamaica unless it have a serious disaster. Because the capitalists of this country have taken over the Bank of Jamaica. They are using it as a cash cow. Let me tell the people. And the digital revolution is upon the world, and they don't know what to tell the people. During FinSac, the government of Jamaica under the PNP and JLP, they bail out the banks. And Mr. Patterson and the government of his time, they say leeching the bank because the government used to run the bank, but they run it as a cash cow. They used to run Cayman and Spark, and they run it as a cash cow. And now Supreme Ventures take Cayman and Spark, and it is now the top 10 company in Jamaica. PNP and JLP can't run none. They are a set of dunces and criminals. PNP and JLP party are two criminal organizations in Jamaica. If you study criminality, like how I study accounts and criminality, let me tell you people. So listen this now, my people. The digital revolution is here, and they're going to go Bitcoin, various form of cryptocurrency, and gold and silver. Gold. Russia have moved several plane load of gold out of Venezuela and carried into its central bank because they know what is to come. Russia is doing it, France is doing it, China is doing it. So if you have any gold under your mattress, make sure you hold it carefully because they've been coming for your gold. This minute, Pastor.
I'm listening.
Pastor.
Yeah.
I want the church organization of Jamaica, the churches, because they have a great influence over the mind of the Jamaican people.
Right.
To make sure they stop tell the Jamaican people that is only Jesus alone can solve the problem. Tell them to stop, tell them that.
Hold on. But
yeah, let me hold on.
No, man, you finish your thing and then I'll come in.
Tell the church them when the people come in at them church and them tabernacle, especially the 10-year-old and the 12-year-old, those who are under 18. Let them know that if they will have to be like Jesus, with the Spirit of God in them, and run with these people. Hey, look here, let me tell you something. You know what they're going to have in this country now? You see the bank fees that they're charging? It is called a bail-in, yeah? Bail-in. You have IMF. When you came around here and the FinTech, the government bail out the bank with people money and put it on the national debt.
I have one
government do that. PNP government.
One of our listeners said everybody needs to take their money out of the bank. One of our listeners online said we need to take our money out of the banks.
Yeah, not only take your money out of the bank, because some people cannot do without the bank. The economy would crash and they would slaughter us and put back the males, the African males, in slavery, because the African males now are under what you call radical feminism. Let me tell you people them straight. Radical feminism is up on Jamaica now.
What is
Pastor?
That? Radical feminism. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And you want me to tell you straight?
What is that?
95% of the African males who earn income below $200,000 a month, they have been whipped by their female through a system that was developed in the Cuban Revolution known as pum pum whipping.
Okay.
Yeah, let me tell you straight. Me I tell you, my name Neville, and me I tell you, enough people don't even know what me know. Because I know nothing.
Neville.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you at 10 o'clock.
Neville.
Let me tell you this before me leave.
There's a break. We're on the break. Can you hold a little bit?
Let me hold after the break and tell the people them this. Breaking news.
Breaking news.
We'll be right back.
Easy! Let not your hearts be troubled. Just believe in God Almighty and daily renew the mind. As we live in this time when fake is more valued than real, lies prefer to truth, the unnatural put above the natural. This is Lady Donna, aka Double D Don, with a new song, Almighty Jah, encouraging your people to keep the faith that God will make a way. Get your copy today. It's on all digital platforms. Lady Donna Official on Instagram, Facebook, AsujaRecords.com. For bookings, Asuja Record Label at Gmail. Almighty Jah!
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station. Moving.
My station.
Moving. Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Bass FM, keep listening.
Yeah. Never going around congregation. Why? Kemisha a burn pagan, so Kemisha will never go, the pagans go. Big up yourself, Kemisha. This is Warrior King and must be in tune to the number one station, Best FM 100.1, 100.9. You know it's all about the reset with Kemisha, Thursdays 2 to 5 p.m. So keep it locked on Best FM. Yeah, this is Warrior King, the Black Emperor Roots Warrior.
Live the life. Respect the music. And keep your radio locked in.
The best 100 FM.
The Aeronautical School of the West Indies presents Squawk 876, a fun and informative program where you will learn about flying, aircraft systems, weather, maintenance, and much more. Tune in to Best 100 FM this and every Wednesday at 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Vejan Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Vejan Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Go ahead, Neville, continue.
Yeah, they're going to bail in the people's money in the banks. All the banks in the world in trouble. All of them in trouble. And they're using the money to set up their digital technology, to digitalize the economy. And the people of Jamaica must resist their needs that they're coming with. Run them away with them needs. But they want needs of the population, and they don't educate the population about financial literacy. And the last thing I want to say, Pastor, you have a mountain to climb in this country, Pastor, because the religion of the country has forced the people to dumb down and let them believe that they're living out revelation, and that is not true, Pastor.
What are they living out?
Because they're keeping away the resources from the people. I leave it to you to talk after me gone. We almost reach a airport.
All right, good. We'll see you soon then.
We'll see you later.
All right then.
Later.
Okay. All right. Do we have a caller on the line? Because I wanted to. We don't? All right. So to the callers on the chat, I really do appreciate the comments, and we do need to take some more time. Straight Shooter says, Minette, you should read more of the messages. The truth is, I read all of the messages, but sometimes I'm not able to share what is being said quickly enough. And it is true that I think Straight Shooter himself had said PJ Patterson had made an effort in the 90s to depoliticize certain national institutions like the investigative and the prosecutorial arms. And now they have become near dictatorships, which is something we have been looking at here as well, the extent to which some of those institutions are not delivering against what the Constitution has promised and what we expect. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
I'll tell Mr. Light when him
Neville?
say to me,
yes,
you don't know where me at. This is international, universal.
Hold on.
No,
hold on.
Listen to me.
Wait.
No, hold
on.
Stop.
Hold on.
This is my maker.
Who is this?
Hello?
Yeah, this is but you don't have to defend it, my brother. You said what you wanted to say fully.
He said what he wanted to say, so
yeah.
give another person a clap. No man.
Yeah, but you mustn't let that disturb you. The truth that you know and the experience you're having.
No, man.
All right, we're not going to have a fight about it this morning. Darkness, we have another call. We're going to go to it now, my brother. Thank you so much. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Morning, love and bless.
Good morning.
How much, my brother?
Present and I give thanks for it.
As am I.
Thank you for calling, love and best. But just let us say to callers, we're not going to have a cuss on this program. You come in, you state your view.
I think it's called a cas-cas.
Cuscus, cascas.
All right, you and I are not going to have a
cascas. We're just simply saying you state your point, you leave it out there, people can agree or disagree. So go
All right,
ahead. Thank you, Love and Bliss.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Corruption right now. Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know when mango ripe.
Oh yes, man, and flies start to follow it.
Yes, that's one I know, you know.
Yep.
The PNP and the GLP in serious trouble, you know.
You know something? It's the country that is in serious trouble.
Yeah.
No, the country all right, you know, so them mine out the country and them mine out
Lord,
and
my
mine
brother.
out round the top.
Yeah, but you know.
A man not do what them a do in the country for anything to the country. PNP and GLP.
Oh, I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
Okay.
But we are caretakers of the country. So if we are behaving badly, we are hurting the thing that sustains us and what we are sworn to protect.
The PNP and the GLP are hurt the country and them are hurt the people them.
Mm-hmm.
How much more people have been murdered for that area now?
I hope that my belief is that it will decrease because people wake up to the truth and reality that killing each other don't profit nobody at all.
When them are going to wake up, Reverend?
Well?
Under the PNP and the GLP, when them are going to wake up?
Well, we are wake up now, man.
We're wake up now.
We're wake up now. One of the things that I realized, you see, my brother, is that what we see, the explosion of blood that we see, start at a smaller place. And while a number of things have to happen concurrently, if we can catch it before it gets to that extreme level, we can safeguard the future with a little more effectiveness. So like this morning, we were talking about the anti-corruption tool, the whistleblower legislation, and Pastor was making comments about doing away with this informer for dead culture. What you are talking about is every citizen waking up and seeing where they can take responsibility to stem the tide of violence, which oftentimes begins with small acts of corruption. It's the small acts that grow up to be monsters.
With the DPP, where we are now?
Yeah,
but let me tell you.
That's a part of it.
What happened to Miss Enzinger?
That's a question we keep asking.
And then this man I know, him just brush off with what them brush him off with?
Well, he's now in the office of the Prime Minister.
So him just brush off. What them brush him off with, Miss Minetti?
Free from any prosecution for breach of the Disaster Risk Management Act.
And Miss Enzinger have to go to jail.
And she have to be, yeah, she's still before the court.
And them have to trim her.
Mm-hmm. So
and
those...
man come and talk about people come from jail and turn Rasta. Them people are yet Rasta, you know. And you say children yet Rasta. Them are going to perish.
Yes, that was among some of the things that Sheppy said, but you know, I tell you, part of what we
Rasta is love.
Miss Minetti, Rasta to them people, Miss Minetti.
They don't.
Rasta doesn't beg them work. Rasta not beg them nothing, you know.
Yeah.
And them come and fight against PNP and JP always a war, you know that?
Yeah. Well,
them are the biggest gang in Jamaica, you know.
On the streets, in Parliament, they're friends.
Yeah? How much more with them are killed first before we rise up against these people, brethren?
Okay.
Huh?
But let me share a perspective that I hold, which is a person cannot do to you what you don't want them to do to you. Meaning they can put things at you, but you are responsible for your response. And so it's it. Yeah, man. Yes, man. Yes, man. All the time. I've seen it happen.
Reverend.
But I'm just telling you, hold on, man. Love and bless. I'm just simply sharing my perspective and the way that a lot of people that I interact with. You choose to pull me down, I choose to lift you up. And so, because I've interacted with a lot of Rastafarians, my older brother who is now passed was that kind of person, always seeking to respond to the negative with the positive. And if more Jamaicans were doing that, you know what would happen? You would have a shift in terms of the narrative that is happening in our country.
So the principle that Pastor outlining, my brother, we know it's the right principle, but you're preoccupied right now with how do we move from living that principle into seeing the change.
Right.
One of the things we were talking about this morning is the whistleblowing legislation, which need to be brought into proper shape so people who have information about wrongdoing can safely share it, whether it is a big or small piece of knowledge. And we got to find a way. Now, there are a number of entities that are identified as bodies that you can go to with your information. I think more people in the public sector, in the private sector probably may, and the attorneys at law, them have that on the list. Persons need to be available to participate in bringing about this change. Because all of the things you're talking about, information about it, somebody know it.
What happened to the technology, Miss Minity?
Yes, that is one of the tools that you can use to make it safer. And we have to fight for it. What Pastor is saying, that principle is good, but we have to fight to make that principle real.
Yeah. And if more people become a part of that, it will change. But
The
everybody say,
technology used for them special purpose in a Miss Minity.
Yeah, but those of us who are interested in it, the technology not care who use it. As long as you can afford to put in an infrastructure, those of us who care must find a way.
But the infrastructure put in by who? The government or the people?
It's private sector putting the infrastructure. I mean, except for what you might do in a government office. It's not the government.
Who is the private sector, Miss Minity?
Well, you and me.
You and me. If you have a business, you're a part of the private sector.
So, what you want them to say? The whole away, don't you say one?
We can be, if we choose to be. Huh? Or enough of us can make a dent.
Huh? Miss Minity, me not see it somebody.
All right.
But enough of us can combine.
Many people, one people. Out of many people, one people.
Mm-hmm.
That is the word, you know.
Yeah, that is the motto. So what are you saying? That they're not one or they're still many?
We are not one, brethren.
Okay.
We are not one down
here.
Nah,
we know that. But if you and I combine, that's two less people to be opposing each other. And if Pastor join us, that's three. And it can keep growing.
Miss Minity, Jamaica governed through politics.
Mm-hmm.
Jamaica.
So you're saying there's no hope? You're saying there's no hope?
No other group of people no get figure input in the parliament house in Miss Minity.
Yes, that's for the laws that need to be made. But the same way we have many laws that nobody obey, we can also be the ones to set the tone on the street and determine what principles we want to live by, even if we're not in Parliament. Parliament must change eventually, you know, when we take the responsibility for who we put there and we are serious about it.
But Miss Minity, you know, see who we put there, not interested, Miss Minity.
Yeah, so we don't have to change them, my brother.
How we change them?
Uprising in terms of...
Well, you know, the democratic way is to vote.
Yeah.
And the day for voting always coming up. But do we keep the mindset so that when it comes, we can do the right things? Let's see.
We have two parties down here. Mm-hmm. Two of the same.
Oh, by the way, for those interested, the UIC has a TV channel. I think it's on the internet. It's Liberty, UIC, Liberty TV or something. Someone sent me a link to it this weekend. For those who are wondering what the UIC is doing as a third party and an alternative, you can find them online and see all of the presentations that they've put together on candidates, on crime and various things. I haven't looked at all of it, but just as you mentioned that there are two parties, there is a third and there are some independent candidates and perhaps more are going to come out of the woodwork. Let's see if with all that is happening on the ground, we can make a change. I think we have another caller who has been holding.
Miss Minity.
Yes, brother.
Miss Minity.
Yes.
Miss Minity, African attack here, you know.
We know it is.
Yes, my brethren, Miss Minity.
By the way, African, every number you have given me, when I call it I don't get you.
No, 2 times I gave my number.
Yes.
I'm going to get a call, but I'm not saying
no, but that number doesn't work. And I know Andre take the right number. I call that number until I give up. So you've given him two numbers. I don't know what's wrong with them, but each time you call it, it says that no calls can be something about. It says no call can go through. I get a system recording, and I actually had spoken about it on air now because we've been waiting. You remember the farming project that we talked about. The land has been identified, and the man waiting on us to get back to him, but I can't go back to him without you.
This minute, I'm not far from here, you know.
So how we gonna meet up?
Just drive come up the road, man.
And ask for African?
Which part we're selling are going up the road, eh?
Okay.
So at the school?
Yes.
Yeah, man, just come let's have some of them, man.
Well, I'm gonna pass and ask for you.
Miss Minute, it's good to be here, yeah?
All right, my brother. So I'm gonna meet you soon then.
One love, Miss Minute.
Cool. Good morning.
Give thanks, Evan.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection. Oh, but I'm glad that I got to speak a little longer with African. So I think I know the school is near to the football field. Yeah, I think. Good all know African, you know. All right. What were we? We were talking about something just before the calls came in, but so online we've had one or two comments coming in that are really worth sharing, but we're moving faster than we can. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Everyone. Hello?
Yes, man, we're hearing you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you know, I'm speaking some information that I want to speak about the same guy who's from Guyana.
Yes, is that?
Yes, but guess what now? We're not going to be able to write on that information right now.
This is for the school, the flight school.
It's the same one. But with the work at the kitchen, we reach in time before we reach 10 o'clock, so we can call back and get it.
Absolutely, we're happy to share it.
Yeah, and well, the conversation this morning, you know, and you know, I heard one of the callers kind of hungry, you know, with what takes place and all of that.
Yes.
And the inequality, and so, but you see, I understand, you know, don't feel like all of these politicians are not aware because they are the start of it from the start. So if they are the start of it, they are well aware of what is taking place and what is going on and what is to come because they are planning. So I would say that, you know, most of the people, what are the steps that people can take to organize, plan, and to execute?
Yes.
That's where we are at.
You understand? I believe that that's what we should mostly focus on right now. Nothing is wrong with all of the discussion. But
true.
The plan and the execution. How can we go about it?
And you're so right, because if we keep talking about the problem, we're going to feel powerless.
No, because it's not going to change anything.
Yeah.
And we need to change the victim mentality.
Exactly, because the people need to wake up, not the politicians.
Right.
Yeah, because they know what they're doing and they're profiting.
Exactly, because every plan that comes out, they know the plan does that we the people do not know what is to come until it comes.
Mm-hmm. And the truth is, you know. Go ahead, my brother. Go ahead. The truth is, you know, some things I tell people all the times, you know, as sure as night follows day. If you do this, if you think about it long enough, there are options that are open to them that you, in terms of strategic plan, can say, them going to do that, well, we'll do this. But if you don't plan, you can't overcome them. So that is why I'm saying one of the things we need to do is shift our mindset and move from being a victim to saying, no, man, we can beat them at their own game. And there are different things you do in order to mobilize and organize to get it done.
That is true, but think about this, right? Think about a football match, right?
Yes.
You know you have two teams. Think about the referee as the prime minister, right? And the people on the field as the citizens of Jamaica. Who you think to the game better?
That's
You hear me?
interesting. Yeah, I hear
Yes,
you.
well,
Yeah.
it would be the referee. That's his job, is to see the game
Exactly.
from a
No,
different perspective.
exactly. The referee see the game better, but guess what, the referee do not understand fully the experience that the player is going through on the field
Yes,
because he's not the one out there. He's the one who's observing.
he's observing.
But the one who's getting the experience on it, is just not feeling everything.
And really, the players can outplay the referee.
Yes, but it takes discipline.
Ah.
And teamwork.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So first, as you say, when you organize and when you plan, organize, and when you're ready to execute, it takes discipline and sacrifice to make it, you understand? But first of all, people need to know what they stand for and what they are standing for. It can be done, or not?
Of course, it can be done, and it will be done.
But what I'm saying that the complaint is not going to change anything. Nothing is wrong with the discussion, but the complaint is not going to change anything. Because as I have been listening for a very long time now, and I can tell most of the people who call, they are just complaining, some discussing. But what are the plans? I don't come with no plan or no steps what we can take, how can you organize? See, do not worry about if the majority and if nobody now come out. Just do what you have to do.
Well, you know, my brother, I love your spirit. If it's one of us or two of us.
I said today that we can't change.
Yeah, you gotta do it anyway. Do it and fail, but no, somebody will remember that. You know, somebody had tried this. Let's see if we can.
You know what I realized?
Yes.
These people love when people lead them and they can't lead themselves.
But understand that is necessary too, because everybody can't be leaders. We won't get the teamwork.
Hear this. You're right, you know.
Yeah.
In some ways, you are right. But think about this. Everybody is a leader, but you come back down to the discipline. That's where everything lies, you know, the discipline.
To be submitted to a cause or a greater leader. And it's one of the things that when we speak about the kingdom of God and we speak as people of faith, it requires submission to the higher authority, and that submission builds in you a humility that allows you to be a part of something because it serves a greater purpose. So you don't all have to be pulling in a different direction where, you know, everybody is a leader.
Not in that sense what I meant, you know. But in the sense of, listen, we know that everybody is a leader, but still we have to have a main leader.
Yes, man, I understand what you're saying. And that requires submission to authority. So you have to believe in something larger than what your personal perspective is. So you can be submitted and disciplined in executing what you're doing.
Exactly. So I'll have to say to these people, and I know many others are listening, same way.
Yes.
So I'll have to say to these people, the first thing that they need to do, right, is to learn to discipline themselves and learn to live with the neighbor good first. You get me, I say?
I get what you're saying.
That is one of the main problems. We're fighting against each other too much.
True.
And that it saps your energy and distracts you from the bigger purpose. All right, my brother, thank you so much. I am going to repeat the information for the flight school. Or just stay.
Well,
are you in a position to write anything down? No?
No, I'm not eventually older but coming up to see now.
All right. Well, listen, anytime you call us, we'll have the information for you.
All right, thanks.
All right.
Blessings.
Cool.
Good. Thanks for calling. Good input.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Yes, my sister and pastor.
Mm-hmm.
The saying goes that people get the government that they deserve. You believe in that?
Yes, I believe in it.
Right. So this victim that we constantly playing victim and not taking responsibility for some of the things that is happening in this country. You know, we have two parties, right? We have the PNP and we have the JLP. And as a country in the world have the same two parties, you know.
Of course.
America have Democrat and them have Republican.
Yeah.
England have Conservative and Labour Party. It is not really the problem with the two parties, you know. It's the problem with us, you know, because the members of the two parties come from us, you know.
Yes.
I've been saying that all the while that we produce them, and if we get the leaders that we want, because if when a man come on a platform and all you can do is show you his shoes them wear, and thousands of people jump up in the air and way. I him say I'm gonna bring prosperity to you and nobody say, hold on, man. You say you're gonna give it this time. For argument say this government say I'm gonna give 5 in 4. And nobody in the media, nobody never said, tell me something. Some of the plans, give us some of the plans that you have in
How
place
we're
that
gonna accomplish this? Yeah.
Nobody asks a question like those,
But typically, I mean, you're right, and we deserve it. Typically, we don't take decisions based on issues and plans and things that make sense. We go with hype and music, and I can tell who's gonna win any election based on the jingles that they put out.
Yeah.
The year that the JLP had that killer jingle, I just knew.
Then we complain now,
Yeah.
and
So-
we make up a night.
So it's time for us to take responsibility.
And then the government never tell me how they're going to do what they say they're going to do.
Yep.
We never ask them, how you're going to achieve that. Right now, the police told us that robberies is down, raping is down, and all those things are down. And nobody's asking them what strategy they use to get those things done. How we get those things? Is that just something that you're telling us that is not happening or what? What strategy are you using to get those figures that you're telling us?
And then, of course, are those incidents, is it really down? Because some people get fed up and nobody complain.
Right, that is what I'm saying.
So, yeah.
We're not certain because a man come with some all kind of figures and tell you this and tell you that, and nobody not question this. And some of the things they have to question, you see, are even scientists come and explain to us why that is happening, and we still have question those things. And some of the things when nobody no question, nobody no explain to us about nothing at all. We don't get no information for nothing. We still believe in it.
Well, my brother, we are trying to make a change. One Coco going to fulfill this basket
we have to
change it.
That's why I'm pointing out these things. I want people them to look into themselves and realize that we have some flaws in our DNA that we have to change. If we want to get the society work like how we want.
My brother, I appreciate your
culture.
I appreciate your saying it exactly as you are saying it.
Nobody don't want to say nothing. No man don't want to say nothing because he might wait and feel time that he may in that he think that he can get something to say. That's why I don't say nothing, because I like to get some of that.
Yeah.
Self-interest.
Aye. And it's not the enlightened self-interest.
And it's not the enlightened one. This one is the destructive one.
Yeah. You understand?
I do understand.
We have a lot of thing to work on. We have to work on a lot of things because we can get there, We can get there.
We will
Absolutely.
get there.
And as your pastor said, this mentality that we have, this blame mentality, victim mentality, we have to get rid of that.
Put it down.
We are not a victim. We're not a victim. We're not a victim and not at all. Not saying we're not at all. But
yes, but in this case, we have power and we need to use it.
We have power, man. Just because we're not utilizing this power in the way we should use it.
Yeah.
Utilize it.
All right, brother.
And change. We can make change, man. Right?
Thank you, sir.
And make this country work for all of us. That's for some people. Because people don't give up power, say no. You have
to dig it out of them hand.
Yeah, the people do not have power in this country right now. You think they're going to just lie down and give up power? We have to take power from them.
Or say them tired and just give it back. No, when the Queen was tired of us and give us independence, look what it did for us.
Yeah, the life where some people were in the parliament and live now. You think they want to give it up?
Yeah.
And we have to make certain that we put some pressure on them, that them do the right thing, that the society can move, that everybody can eat a food, as the layman always say. Everybody can eat a food.
Get their
everybody can go to school.
All right, my brother. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
We've gone past the 9:30 break, so we gotta rush into the break.
Okay, all right. Have a good day.
You too, brother. Thanks very much.
We'll be right back.
Looking to clean your vehicle super clean? 123 Clean Car Wash, located at 2¼ Osborne Road, Kingston 10. Entrance on Grove Road, below Tropical Battery. They wash and vacuum, undercarriage wash, engine wash, polish and compound, shampoo and detailing. Call them at 876-631-3400. 123 Clean Car Wash, the best in the business for a cleaner wash.
Believe me, it's so easy. 1, 2, 3.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station. Moving.
My station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Fast FM. Keep listening.
Is this the confusion you feel when trying to work your way through medical systems in Jamaica? Try a dose of Ask Dr. Mary every Thursday at 5 to 6 p.m. Let Dr. Mary help you understand your medical problems and bring you to a calmer place.
Live the life. Respect the music. And keep your radio locked in.
The best 100 FM.
Vejan Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Vejan Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back, and to the caller online, welcome to the Morning Connection.
How are you?
I am well, thank you. How are you?
I am good. Hi, Pastor.
Hi, good morning. Is this Bailey?
Good morning. Yes, it is.
Okay, how are you, Bailey?
I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
I am hoping that Enlightened would still be listening at this time. I just need to say something to him that much of what Darkness has said is factual. And if he is listening carefully, he can put it in line with what Neville said. Okay, in terms of the artificial intelligence, I'm requesting that Enlighten take some time to Google that and garner some information on it and what its intention is. When it's related to the human labor, okay?
So
I'd like for him to do that.
Are you saying that it is? Are you saying it's unreasonable for Enlightened to express impatience with the manner and content of that caller's contribution? I mean,
sorry, I didn't get you.
I'm asking if you think it unreasonable for Enlightened self-interest to have expressed impatience with the manner and the content of the caller's contribution. You found it easy and palatable and...
Yes, because it's not coming from just him. There's a lot of facts in what he's saying.
The presentation is not clear.
I'm sorry, Pastor?
I understand what he's trying to say, but it's not very clear in terms of how he's presenting.
No. It's not as clear, but because I'm privy to that information over and over again from some time ago. This is why I'm requesting. I'm not knocking either of them, and I'm not knocking how Enlightened responds. I'm just requesting that he could garner some more information regarding...
That's why I asked you, Bailey, because I myself don't like it when callers call to sort of lecture each other on either their state of knowledge or their method of delivery. We can assume a certain amount of intelligence and awareness of things that are topical, and I can almost guarantee you that the caller who calls himself Enlightened Self-Interest is well aware of artificial intelligence, how it is being introduced into the society, and the ramifications of it. The truth is, some callers don't express themselves as cogently as others, and I on the show we take a decision to be patient and to carry it as far as we can go. And after that, I don't think the callers need to be unduly perturbed. there is
Right.
freedom of expression. But
Exactly.
yeah, what I kind of take exception to you're saying Enlighten should go and read and educate himself on the subject because it's all true. I think he knows enough about it.
Okay, no, I'm not saying he doesn't,
But you're saying he should go and read about it.
Read some more, probably. Read some more.
No, I kind of got the impression that he was knocking down quite a bit of what
No.
darkness said. Maybe I'm wrong, but that was the
No,
impression.
let me tell you, darkness is a blessing to us because he gives us good training in exercising patience and in extracting value from, you know, a dense set of information. When we can, we entertain it as best we can. Sometimes it's difficult, and I think he has come a long way in how he communicates, and it is improving all the time because he gets to practice. So, share with me what you want to share with me. What do you think about the whistleblowing legislation, or are you yourself perturbed by the developments in artificial intelligence and how man is being led into a particular dependence on it? What do you think?
Because I have heard even demonstrations. I've listened to demonstrations regarding the artificial intelligence and what they're intended to do, the role they're intended to play in relieving us of our jobs.
Yes,
So
but is that necessarily a bad thing? In the industrialized age, cane cutters were replaced by machines. It is a steady march in the development of society
the
that
question-
we mechanize as many
The question
functions
is
as
how
we
far.
can.
I think the question that a lot of people are asking, Merrick, is how far should we march?
True, because you can clone babies if you choose to. Right now, there are people with infertility issues who can, with science, guarantee the gender of a child.
And then
Is that desirable? What are your views on it beyond just, seeing it as an attempt by man to take away jobs or to exercise a certain amount of control?
It is like what I actually was even relating it to, because they go hand in hand in terms of darkness and Neville.
Yeah.
What Neville said is really true. It's just we're just fitting into a smaller piece of the pie. The entire thing is planned. It is planned. So even this vaccine,
but it ought to be planned. I'm trying to see. Are you seeing the changes in technology and how man interacts with technology? Are you seeing it as a blessing or a curse, a negative or a positive?
It's in between. It's in between, but some of it is getting overwhelming. Some of it is really overwhelming. It's in terms of throwing persons out of their jobs to be replaced by artificial intelligence. And then what do we do when everybody goes on to sit? What do we do?
But the foundation of a lot of modern philosophy is that work is abhorrent to man, and man needs to organize his society and his activities in such a way that he has more leisure time, which would give him more time to worship, more time for family, more time to enjoy the natural environment. So the march of technology has been along the basis that greater convenience, less work means better livelihood.
Not sure.
That's sort of the underlying theory. When you talk about the equity involved now, you have different things coming to the fore because the economics of it and the distribution of wealth that follows, increased mechanization, those are separate issues. So, I, for one, am grateful for the technology that can give me better health.
True.
Yeah, but do you realize that we're jumping at even the full digital currency thing, but there's disaster awaiting us, And my request is, my question is, I listen to Neville. This is an argument that I'm privy to over and over again outside of Neville's talking this morning. And I'm just wondering if many persons are aware of what this whole digital society and banking thing is going to do, in the long run. I'm asking, though, is there the slightest possibility that a recording can be made of what Neville said this morning and be played to educate more persons on a wider scale, persons who are not privy to this information or don't have a clue of what it's leading to?
Well, all of our shows, as you know, are recorded and archived. You can pull it down from the internet because it's on YouTube. So if you find Neville's contribution useful and compelling, I think you can isolate it and use it. But there is a need for this society to be given some amount of training in I call it digital literacy. That has not been done yet, but there are some other things that are lagging in the Jamaican environment. On the infrastructure side, we don't as yet have infrastructure built to the extent that a digital economy can unfold with great ease. So Jamaica has a distance to go, and so we have time for persons to train and to learn and to understand what it means for them. There's a thing where you cannot roll back the tide. So instead of being overwhelmed by it or paranoid about it or, unduly disturbed, it's best to understand it and use it to our greatest advantage in the areas that we can.
So the
No,
point that
a
she
lot of
makes.
this is inevitable, but it's just that a lot of persons are not learned about what is to come and what the entire pie means. So they see little pieces like the nibs.
Yes.
But it's for a purpose. It's just a bigger part of the entire plan to take us all over to control us.
Okay.
And we need education on it. We need people to know what's going on before they jump and be happy that, oh no, I'm not going to, I don't have to carry cash around or whatever. When you wake up one morning and the entire system crashes, that's a lot of disadvantage. It's going to be a disaster.
But that can happen now anyway. Many times you go to the bank and they tell you the network is down, they can't process transactions. Or you go to the airport and the network is down, they can't.
But I hear the point that Bailey is saying, the whole thing of educating ourselves and knowing how to
navigate the
the
digital
system,
landscape.
which is what I'm hearing you saying, because a lot of people like to be led. They don't want to engage themselves, which is the point that I've heard Enlightened Self-Interest says. We don't even ask questions anymore. We just following.
Exactly.
We just following. So your point in terms of education, I think we take it. And so we will do what we can in terms of educating and allowing the different views to contend in terms of what's out there. But Bailey, thanks for your call this morning. We're coming to the last 15 minutes of the show. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you.
This business of how we interact with technology, it requires a lot more education than some people have the tolerance for. And there are going to be the majority of people just want to know, where do I go? And that won't change. So that's why it's always so important that the leaders and the princes of the land are people of integrity, because it's very easy to abuse that level of laziness. I would even call it trust. Sometimes it's laziness. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Hello, good morning to both of you.
Morning, sir.
All the listeners in the world and so on. Yeah, sometimes I wonder what they talk to host them really for, what them really stand for, because, sometimes when I hear some kind of talk and the kind of, or the host go on, me not so like it.
Okay.
Because it's like you artificial. We can't artificial no good. And all of them training the way I talk about, them thing there, should I do with the youth them, get them together and train them instead of a youth machine. And come like it's got them for for the new world. The new world, no bad no like the new world. Because they might try to get out all of them things.
So you're talking about us as hosts. You're saying that we seem to be in support of artificial intelligence, and we should not be.
No, we should not be. Should not be. A human intelligence is supposed to be and artificial nothing.
The artificial intelligence is created by human intelligence.
Yeah, but that is the negative part. That is the negative part of human.
It's a tool the same way we once made forks to plow the land, or machines or tractors and so on.
I make man Next man go turn to her. But like even the man on the darkness now. Near a brother talk. Darkness I say the right thing because even when the brother comes say at the same thing with darkness I say but him not understand because in can't see anything there we should have seen before we make this compound with. That means I tell them long time, how we make this thing compound with? You know blind? You can't see.
You know, Jamaica is a distance away from artificial intelligence taking away the job of our workers because we don't. Artificial intelligence requires a certain kind of network infrastructure to operate, and we don't have it in Jamaica. We need to get internet in school so picnic can learn first. We don't even reach there so yet.
But picnic learn long time. Picnic learn long time before all of them things come. So we are doing that about.
I'm talking about the infrastructure that is needed for us to really see the benefits or the full workings of artificial intelligence.
But we can't see because we are even when the people them where we are say when them do it, them right.
Okay.
I wish you guys and don't make them.
All right. So
I have a suspicion that you won't have to worry about it.
But what I hear you saying.
Because me might drop out, but I plan to live there as 20 years old.
When is artificial intelligence going to allow you to accomplish that?
No, man. Because first, those things are going to take the vaccine, and we not take none.
Okay.
That I think so. So you see, I mean, you know, we can live without the vaccine.
Okay.
But you know, you're highlighting the fact that there are two sides to the discussion and persons need to learn more and be able to participate at a higher level than we currently do.
Yeah, because them can't see like darkness. And if they go back to like that, all of these things that come from long time and stop it.
But what you see, that's what we're talking about now. It's not about stopping it. It's about managing it and controlling it so that it does the best thing for humanity and don't become what some people say it could well be an existentialist crisis. Man can make something that eventually destroys mankind as we know it. That is the conversation that some people are having, that we might replace so much of humanity with artificial intelligence that humanity is no longer the same. But it's up to us. We are the hands that are doing the work.
It is up to us to know how we feel it.
Yes, it's up to us to know how far to go. And that's what Pastor was saying, the ethical considerations behind it. How far do we want to go in our desire to see some of these changes?
And that always.
We can have it. If I teach people like we have it, but not work. Not work like take over our work.
Okay.
Yeah, and you see, some people might say today they want more leisure time, so they're gonna get a robot to clean the house. But then when you have nothing constructive to do with the leisure time, you become depressed and suicidal.
So the
balance. It's the balance.
They want to match what? If they want to match up the robot, and when you want to match up the robot will turn panic.
Let me get a little one. Anyway, my brother, I see that you're on point with the issues, and I hope as we continue these conversations, more persons will get involved.
So it is interesting. We are at the end of the program, but this whole argument about artificial intelligence, about transhumanism, it's becoming very current, and I do believe first thing you have to have the information to make a proper decision, and then there are the ethical considerations that will arise that okay, you have to make a choice, you have to decide whether
how much is too much
for people, and that I think is what is being raised by a lot of things. Some people don't make up their mind already. No way, also not even thing.
And
not
a lot
even
of
knowing
people,
that the car, not even knowing that the telephone that they're using is a part of.
I was going to say the very computers that we're using and the
part of-
algorithms that perform jobs that we used to take days to do.
Yeah.
Now the computer will do it in a fraction of a second, and it frees up your time. I tell you, the whole idea is it gives you more personal time. What you do with the personal time, we should be able to do good to help one another,
But
to
then
spend more
becomes
time
another
with
question
family,
on people.
train our children better. All these things are a part of the debate. But may I just say thank you to those who called, those who wrote online. And yes, online, we got to figure out how to incorporate some of the comments that are so on point a little faster in the conversation.
Yeah, we tried.
But I do thank you nonetheless. I read them, and if you listen carefully, sometimes too, I will incorporate it in the comments that we make and how we share with the callers who call us on air. Thank you, of course, to the team in the house, Mr. Producer and Mr. Andre. Andre, your merchandise is next. As we talk about how to make Best FM into a real lifestyle company that affects things even when we're not on air. I see Neville has a vision for us, and it is so interesting to be the subject of that kind of thought. Thank you, my co-chair, co-presenter, co-host, Pastor Percival. Thank you very much. I know that in the 21 days of fast that you've done and so on, that you had us on your list, and I know for sure that we will be among the testimonies that you will yet speak of. Michael Cohen said, it is the ethics which is worrying ever since Dolly the sheep in the UK.
yeah.
We know that Dolly the sheep was a cloned sheep, and once you clone the sheep, you know they soon clone man. And I'm
So
sure
they haven't cloned man yet.
No, they've just been doing body parts. Have you seen them build an ear?
Yes, yeah.
If you lose an ear, they can grow an ear in a petri dish and put it back on your head. Things are happening, and we're doing transplants of every body organ imaginable. And most recently, a pig's heart made its way into the human body. So it's happening, and some of it is very helpful, because when you are the recipient of the blessing, you feel very differently about it. But man has to stay on top of the conversations and make sure that we are not going farther than we should, because we will not like the price that we have to pay. Please have a blessed day. Stay tuned tomorrow, 1st of February, Black History Month. We expect to have fun. Have a great day. What's our music?